Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 194. It is in Columbus, at least, Columbus, Ohio. It is nice and balmy, still in the 50s. What, you don't think it's balmy for November 10th, Nate?
No, I was curious as to what your definition of balmy was.
10 degrees above average in November in the Midwest.
Wait, 53 is 10 degrees above
61 or whatever was the high today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's going to be 60-something.
Oh, dude, the cold front coming through this weekend.
You know what? See,
no, all I was saying yesterday.
Shannon, have you enjoyed the weather?
Yeah. Freaking love it.
Yeah, me too. You want to look at the future, how terrible it's going to be?
I do not.
All right.
No, sir.
Nate, you were saying?
I was just saying.
Welcome back to the garage.
Thank you. I kind of prefer, the season, the gradual change into winter. Not, hey, we just ended summer and now we're in the 40s.
Indian summer, whatever they call it. Are you allowed to say that?
No.
You can't say that anymore. Oh, jeez. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm going to get to sharing this shortly on different groups and different things. And I'm also going to be sharing the YouTube live link to a couple of pages as well, hoping to get some conversation on that as well. You guys can watch this on YouTube live or share it to friends that don't have Facebook, if you guys are watching this live or if you're listening to the audio. But first and foremost, I want to thank you guys, patreon.com/bourbonandbs podcast. You guys have been wonderful. We got close to about 20 or so active members. Kind of goes up and down over the last years. We've been doing this. There's different tiers you guys can do, $5, $10, and $25 tiers. We've got the swag set up now officially, which I'm excited about. If you guys want to contribute to the show, support us for anything, or if you want us to buy a particular bottle and you want us to talk about it, you can also go to Venmo and do on Venmo, it's at Bourbon and BS, and you guys can throw us some money and we can buy a bottle.
A wee bit of dinero.
Yes, dinero, U.S. currency only. But I also want to throw on the screen here the buyjack.com for the audio listeners. It's byjack.com/bourbon and BS, and that is where you can get the swag. Nate has one of the original shirts, so you can get it. It's a little darker than that gray on the new site. It says pour one more, light up another. We'll figure this out together. On that site, there's also a red one, I think a blue one, black one, and also still currently we're going to go through a good chunk of November, and I should have mine for next week's show, but the charity pink shirt as well. You can go on there, and the normal shirt's going to be $25. The charity shirt's going to be $30, and we will be donating $10 per shirt to National Breast Cancer Foundation to, I think, a great cause. And that was kind of a carryover from October, but we didn't get it up in time in the beginning of the month. So getting all those things squared away, it's been good. I know another shirt sold for the charity today.
Awesome.
I saw an alert on that, so that's awesome. So I'm happy we got that up there. And like I said, next week I'll be hopefully wearing a pink shirt to kind of show it off and everything like that. We can get a few more purchased and some more charity dollars going towards them. Also, Tinder Box at Easton. We've got the La Gloria Cubana Spanish press, which is, we talked about Ernesto Perez Carrillo last week, which he was La Gloria Cubana for a long time. Sold it to General. But Tinder Box at Easton, thank you for that cigar, the featured cigar. We're going to go over that tonight. And then also Altadis USA. Talked to Josh Bentley today. Got some a banner coming. We've got some new stuff coming. So I'm excited about that. So Josh and the rest of Altadis USA, thank you for that tonight. The second featured cigar from them is the Monte Cristo White Series in the Rothschild size, which we have smoked before. It's just a fantastic, great selling cigar.
Mm-hmm.
The Cigar Company, the gold and silver are available at Tinder Box at Easton. You can get them online also through email, bscigarcompany@gmail.com. Nate, how was the trip?
It was good. Good trip, except for the only downside of the trip was that one morning we're heading Mike's doing that. They don't know.
No, I mean, we're having good weather.
It was a good trip. We had a lot of fun. Okay. The two cigar shops we went to down there were fantastic.
Nice.
The first shop we went to, actually the shop I spent a lot of time at during that week. One of the guys that's the manager of it, he's from Ohio. And
oh, really?
Yep. He's from Ohio. He's been in the industry for about 15 years. And as soon as I had posted a picture and tagged the shop I was in, Miguel from Crown Heads, which is headquartered in Nashville, Miguel reached out to me and eventually mentioned the two people that were working at the store that day.
Really?
I was like, hey, look what Miguel said about you. He's like, hey, you're a magician and you're from Ohio. and when Miguel said the guy was a magician, I was thinking like, oh, he's just really good at picking out cigars for
He's
customers.
literally a magician.
He's literally a magician.
It's awesome.
Did he pull a quarter out from behind your ear?
No.
No. Damn. Well,
What did he do?
No, he didn't do any magic tricks while on duty.
Well, how do you know he's a magician?
Well,
You just go, I mean, if I told
call
you I was a
BS.
magician, are you just going to take my word for it?
I had 3 other people tell me he was a magician.
Okay.
Not just him.
Shannon, am I a magician?
are you?
Guess we'll never know. Did he have a hat on, like a top hat?
Not while he's working at the
Like
shop.
bunnies? Like rabbit in a hat.
No.
Well, you
Shit.
got a rabbits and cages.
He
in the
pulled
back
a
of the
cigar
shop.
out. He pulled a cigar out of the humidor. How about that?
That's not. I do that every day.
But no, it was
what the hell?
No, it was a good trip. I definitely passed out a lot of BS cigars while I was down there.
Nice.
There was the whole time I was down there, there was only one cigar I smoked out of 8 that was not either a BS Gold or something from Crown Heads.
Really?
Yeah, since Crown Heads is located right there, like a lot of the shops carry a lot of Crown Head cigars.
Did you buy a lot of cigars from those shops, like the Crown Heads, or did you take some with you?
No,
or how'd that work?
I bought them.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yep, bought the cigars and put them on Instagram, tagged Crown Heads and Miguel and the shops and everything like that.
Yeah.
But no, I always like anytime I travel somewhere I haven't been before, I like to find a really nice cigar shop. Because Jess and I have talked about it before. Like, if something happened and we were separated and didn't have cell phones, go to the cigar shop. You'll be safe at the cigar shop, and that's where we'll meet up.
This is my happy place.
well, it's not just
What?
that, but like,
It's like the front counter at Kmart.
but no, I mean, like, if somehow Jess got lost, and just she knows to go to the cigar shop because she
But
knows.
What if you got lost? Where would you find her?
No, if I got lost, I
Which
know she's
cigar
gonna,
shop?
she's going to go to the cigar shop.
Which one?
Casa de Monte Cristo, which
That was the home base.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the one we went to. That was the closest one.
All right.
The other one we went to was about 25 minutes south of Nashville in Franklin.
Yeah.
And there's a gentleman that I follow on Instagram, and he also does a podcast. And he
Yeah. What was that one called?
The Honest Cigar Experience.
That's right. That's right.
And so he and I met up at a cigar shop in Franklin, and he actually used to work at that cigar shop.
Okay.
And then, so, we were just getting to know each other, asking where we work and everything. He works for Dave Ramsey's company,
Okay.
which
you
is
see,
the stuff Jess and I used to teach in our old church. So,
right.
so it was like, oh, we actually have a lot more in common already than we thought. So,
Wow.
but no, it was a cool
Great.
time. It was a cool time.
And what was the bad part?
Thursday morning, go out to do our stuff and find the rental car had been broken into.
The key word there is the rental car.
Rent, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah, rental car had been broken into. Nothing had been taken because the only thing in there was a book and a Juarez hat. So they didn't take.
They didn't take the Juarez.
They didn't
hat?
take the Juarez
Nice,
hat. Like, come
nice.
on, why wouldn't they do that?
We don't want them to.
But no, I mean, so obviously you had to wait 2 hours before the tow truck came.
Yeah.
Took me to the airport for where the rental office was, get a new car, go back. By that point, what we had wanted to do, like our day was just kind of shot because by the time I got back to where we were staying, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon.
What did Jess do?
She stayed at our room where we were staying.
Oh,
She stayed there.
nice
while
relaxing day. While Nate was all stressed out with the rental car. Nice. Good for
I-
you.
I was less
Jess is in
stressed
the
out. Than
garage,
you
by the
probably
way.
thought I
We'll
was.
get her a mic here.
I was less stressed out than I probably would have been had it been my car.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a different
Yeah,
ball
For
game.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, so after that, I was like, you know what? I just want to go to the cigar shop, relax. So go there, relax, have a drink, because in Tennessee you can have cigar bars. Can't do that in Ohio.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
I literally went there. We ordered food from the restaurant right on the corner, and
Nice.
just went picked it up, brought it back. We ate it there. And there was live music that night, so made the
man.
best out of that day that we could.
I feel there's live music all the time in Nashville,
Yes,
everywhere.
in Nashville, yes.
but you weren't in. Okay.
That shop has live music every Thursday,
Nice.
and it's usually blues or jazz.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm just getting finished sharing. I always this list gets longer and longer. I tell you what. But yeah, Shannon, how have you been?
I'm good, buddy.
Welcome back.
Thank you. We
How's
over
the
the
haircutting
weekend.
business?
Oh, it's crazy right now.
Yeah.
Usually it's a bit of a slowdown when you get into the colder weather.
Why is that? What does that have to do with haircuts? More hats?
More hats.
Okay.
People want their hair a little bit longer, keep their head warmer. I don't have that problem
I
anymore.
don't either. Do not.
So, but it's still been pretty busy. We haven't even hit the Turkey Day rush yet. So,
right.
I'm thinking here.
Everyone getting done up for the holiday.
Yeah, because nobody really traveled last year because it was so crazy.
That's
but
right.
there's a lot of talk of travel this year, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Should be pretty wild, busy, which is always good.
Good. All right, I'm all shared up here. I encourage you guys to do the same. If you guys are listening on the audio, make sure that you like, subscribe, tell people about it, all that good stuff. Glad the haircutting business is good.
Yeah, it's going great, man.
Now, this bottle you brought, and I know we're going to do the cigar first. I just got to ask, did you bring this back, or was this a gift?
So my buddy Scott Wagner lives out in Bozeman, Montana.
Okay.
And we meant to go by. Well, I was out there in June.
Yeah.
And we meant to go by this distillery, but we never got a chance. We were so busy doing everything else. So he just came out here 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he brought this bottle and dropped it off for me. So here it is.
Here we are.
Here we
Big
go.
Horn.
Big Horn.
All right. We talked last week. Still got to figure out how to share this. This is the YouTube video over here. I don't know. We need a tech guy. You know, tech guys? No.
Dan's not here.
So we're smoking the La Gloria Cubana Spanish press. Last week we had the Ernesto Perez Carrillo, the pledge, and we had Spencer on, and we were smoking that. We're hoping to reschedule Amy Schertzinger from McClellan's as a reminder, but check that one out, episode 193. It's live on the audio. If you guys have not listened to it yet, we hope you guys check that out. But Ernesto Perez Carrillo, the story with his father, and then how they came to be in the States, and how the El Credito factory and all that. So now the La Gloria Cubana is owned by General Cigars. They have a section of one of the factories called El Credito now, and this is an interesting blend. I want to make sure I don't get this wrong. This cigar, do you know about this cigar at all, Nate?
I've smoked it a couple times.
Smoked it.
Yeah. Was this something that came after Ernesto had already sold? All right, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, this one actually came out, if I'm recalling, this was a blend that they really pushed right around the time that they were pushing some blends out, for the FDA stuff back in 16, 17.
Gotcha.
So this one's got a Nicaraguan jalapa wrapper. The binder is a Mexican San Andreas. So that's interesting. And the filler, again, it's very interesting. You got Brazilian Matafina in there. You've got Dominican Olor and Nicaraguan jalapa, and then Dominican Piloto Cubano. So you've got some Brazilian, you got some Mexican, you got some Nicaraguan, you got some Dominican tobaccos in this cigar. So it's a lot more complex of a blend than I remembered before we featured this cigar tonight.
Seems like we've been getting a lot more cigars utilizing that Brazilian tobacco.
Yeah, for sure. And the Spanish press, and like I said, check out 193 if you want to hear more about the story of La Gloria Cubana and everything like that. But again, this one, the Spanish press, this is just something that, they used a Spanish press technique, which was just the boxes to give that pressure on that, to give it that kind of box press to it, to get the extra air out of it when you're rolling it, so you don't have any air pockets or anything like that in there. That's the typical mold, but that's
Is that the
Spanish
whole
press.
reason behind a box press?
No, a mold in general
Okay.
would do that. The box press, I don't really know why people chose the box as opposed to it was just an easier thing to do other than a perfect circle back in the day, and that's maybe where the Spanish press comes in, is that it's easier to do like the hard lines on it as opposed to, drilling out a perfect hole to have a round cigar.
Maybe some people started it to stand out a little bit, stick out.
Yeah, it says this process was reminiscent of the old Spanish press technique used in pre-embargo Cuba, where the boxes were used to create the cigar's distinct form. So, I don't know.
Yeah, because it is more of a square press, not kind of that. We see a lot of box presses that are a little bit more
Flat.
Flatter.
It is
More rectangular than square. But this one, it's also like on the top where the label
that's what I was
face
mention.
on the top where the label is those sides kind of have those harder lines.
That's like a 90-degree right there almost.
But then the back side, it's more rounded.
It's a little softer.
Which I get that when I look at a lot of the Asylum box presses, but those are rectangular.
Yeah.
But they have one side that's those hard 90-degree edges, and then the underside of it is a little bit more rounded.
Nice. Well, what do you guys think off the rip? I know we're just getting into the cigar, but I mean, like I said, I don't really have the whole lot of the history with the stuff. I'm not going to take away from the history of La Gloria Cubana with Ernesto Perez Carrillo, because obviously even on say like the Serie R on top of those boxes, it even says EPC still on there. So I mean, they definitely pay tribute, and I know he was with them for a while there before he broke out on his own once they acquired that company. But Shannon, what do you think of this cigar? I know you like more medium to full body typically.
Yeah, on the
Where
first,
would you classify this?
definitely a medium. As the more I've got into it, right off the rip, the first light and puff was I'm not gonna say a pepper bomb, but it definitely had a little bit of the pepper taste floating around in there. Which wasn't overpowering, which is good. I'm not too big on the pepper stuff.
Okay.
But there was just a nice hint of it, which made it different. And as I've gotten into it, I felt a little earthy kind of taste to it coming out, which is pretty good. And it's been holding together really good so far. And I haven't relit it since I lit it, 20 minutes ago or whatever it's been. So
not quite, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nate, how about, go ahead.
I'll just say I like it, man. I don't smoke a lot of La Glorias, but this is a nice one for sure.
I like this one because compared to some of the other La Glorias, like this one just is a little bit more approachable, a little smoother. Yeah, I think not as brash and in your face as some of the cigars they come out with. At first when I lit mine, it had a little run on the wrapper, but that worked itself out without.
Explain run for those that don't know what that is.
So like as soon as I lit the cigar, there was one part of the wrapper where it just started to run and burn inward, up the cigar just on the wrapper, but without me having to touch it up. Like it corrected itself on that. But no, it draws effortlessly, even though like when I look at the head of mine, it looks like it'd be a little tight. Yeah. But it actually, when I draw through it, there's still a ton of smoke coming out. So it draws very, very well. I definitely agree with Shannon that it's medium body. Yeah. And it's got some nice earthy flavors to it that remind me a little bit of a Cameroon.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Just in general?
Yeah, just some of that dark earth type of flavor to it. Or some of those cooking spices or seasonings, not necessarily spice like peppers, but not, like a baking spice either. More like, just the seasonings that you add to give different depth of flavor to food. Right.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of that layers to it, that you're talking about there. I think it does have a little nice pepper in the retrohale. Just good medium-bodied strength, so it's not going to be too much for you. It seems to probably, I haven't really taken a lot of sips of this Bighorn, say bourbon whiskey, right?
Yep.
It's what's called Bighorn Bourbon Whiskey. But it's got a nice flavor to it, that rich tobacco that I think would go probably well with a lot of different of easy drinking whiskeys. Probably stand up to some cast strengths.
My first sip of the bourbon whiskey by itself, it was felt a little light. I was like, man, I don't know what we're going to go down here with, but yeah. As I've been smoking on the cigar and I've had a few more sips of this, man, it's balanced out perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, everything just seems to kind of flow together, and I've actually really enjoying this bourbon with this cigar.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's just the shape is kind of nice to smoke. It's interesting. I hate the word mouthfeel, but I mean, I'm not even talking about the mouthfeel of the smoke, but just the how's that feel in your mouth there, Shannon? You're already laughing, buddy. No comment.
About to choke out.
Oh,
wow. Hey-o.
You're doing it wrong, man. Got to stick it in that far.
Whee. Not supposed to gag on it.
All right, Jesus. I don't know why I bring those. So that's the cigar. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to talk about the cigar. We can kind of bounce back with it here in the first part, how it's progressing as we get into it. We're all kind of new into the cigar. A lot of times we start with the whiskey first, but I kind of wanted to focus on what we got going on with the whiskey here. So you said your friend, the Big Horn Bourbon Whiskey, is coming out of Willie's Distillery
in Ennis,
Ennis.
Montana.
Yeah, Ennis, Montana. Which Tinder Box at Easton is a sponsor of the show where Nate and I work also. And the owner, Brian, did an internship out in Montana. He said he's been there, and as he called it, Western Montana is just absolutely gorgeous.
Stunning. So my buddy lives in Bozeman, and we were out there at the end of June, and I've never seen country like this before. I mean, that area is so beautiful. Bozeman sits nestled down, and it's still, 6,000 feet above sea level, but it nestles in the mountains there, and it's just surrounded, and it's just insane.
What are you thinking, Nate?
The whiskey?
Yes.
So it's
the whiskey.
It's kind of got this mineral and floral note to it.
Okay.
You know, which when you read the bottle and you read the age that's on it, kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, any of the research I did, like I could not find information on mash bill, but that's because this is a blended whiskey. So they're blending whiskeys that are distilled at their distillery in Montana, but then it's also blended with whiskey from Indiana.
From Indiana, which we assume is MGP, probably.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the descriptions on it said, you know, quotes, blended the finest bourbons, but it's still, the age statement on it is at least 1 year.
Or seven
dog
or
years.
7 dog years.
Yeah, I don't really get that part of it. I mean, I understand it, but
so I was a little nervous going into it when it said age at least 1 year, because I've had some of those 1 and 2 year whiskeys before, and this is actually pleasant. I was actually very surprised. I was also surprised by the color of the whiskey. Like, it doesn't.
Why do you say that?
It's a little darker than I would expect.
Yeah, so all the color from a whiskey comes from the barrel and the char.
Mm-hmm.
So this only being in a barrel for a year or so, like, you wouldn't expect it to pick up that much color necessarily. Like, this is even darker, I would say, than Angel's Envy. I think this is a little bit darker than Angel's Envy, which is like a 4 to 6 year blend.
And
you think that would come from I don't know much about this MGP you talk about, but you think it's on that end it would come with the color?
Unless you're actually talking with Willie, you probably, I mean, it's hard to say.
Right.
Don't know if it's coming from the Montana whiskey or from the Indiana whiskey. I would assume a little bit more of it is going to come from the Indiana whiskey, just because the climate and temperature changes are more drastic in Indiana. So there's going to be more interaction with the barrel in and out of the staves. It's because, that's why with bourbon in Kentucky, you can do a 4 year and it's going to have a lot of color to it. Last year when we had that Still Austin out of Texas, like, that was only a 2 year whiskey.
Yeah. And
it still had a lot of color because they have even more drastic weather changes than Kentucky does. But then you take Scotch. Scotland's a very temperate type of climate. Most of the year it's going to be that 50s. So they have to age their whiskey longer in order to pick up more of that color and more of that flavor out of the barrel.
Gotcha.
Well, Ray just asked if it. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. Could the color be introduced chemically / unnaturally? Yes, it can. In fact, we talked about that with was it Andemic, I think, when we were talking about bottled and bond. And one of the things about that was that there was no, because what was that? Was it Watershed and Andemic that we were talking about, that there were, like, when whiskey was first just out Wild West style, it was like nails
prior to the bottle,
like rusty nails. They'd throw in the
spit from a spittoon.
Yeah, they'd throw all that in there to give it the color.
Motor oil.
They would give it the brown color because there were no age statements on it. They didn't have to say what it was. They just basically, it could be, if it was out, like, it could be moonshine, basically, that they just put, artificial coloring, but not with the science and what we have today, where you can go to the local grocery store and get food coloring. This was like, hey, what can give it this, like, natural brown type of a thing? Rust, spit.
Let me throw a little tetanus in there.
Right? I mean, pretty much.
That's prior to 1897. But since then, like, if this had anything added to it, anything artificial, it by law, it has to have it on the label.
even if it's not bottled and bond.
Even if it's not bottled and bond. The Bottled and Bond Act of 1897, like that was just like you have to put on the label what's in it.
Mm.
So I mean, because we still see flavored whiskeys that'll say, you know, flavored with whatever or natural flavors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it has to have, even though it's not a bottled and bond product,
Interesting.
it has, if there's anything, because this is where all your, you know, food and drug regulations started in this country is whiskey.
Yeah.
So if they add any type of color to it or anything for the flavor, they have to put it on the label.
Nice. Well, I want to touch on here with Willie's Distillery. It is a husband-wife, Willie and Robin Blazer. So this is, and I think it's fitting that you brought this bottle on today because tomorrow is Veterans Day.
Oh,
So, you know, we got, this is on the website, williesdistillery.com, if you guys want to check these guys out. But Willie, he is from the moonshine country in Western North Carolina, the Appalachian area. He's a veteran of the United States Armed Forces and U.S. Forest Service, serving as an Army Ranger, Special Forces medic, hotshot wildland firefighter, and smoke jumper. So quite the resume there. Not necessarily a resume in the, you know, other than the moonshine country. That's the relevant one here as far as what we're drinking. But Robin was raised on a grain farm. So this is the wife here in Southwest Montana. And she has a business development marketing background along with Montana roots. She is currently the president of Willie's Distillery and Montana Distillers Guild. So they've got a stronghold. Not sure how big the market is out in Montana. Obviously, it's not really known for being bourbon country or whiskey country, but yeah. So they've got some nice things here going on. Both male and female represented, obviously, in the higher up positions and knowing stuff about the distillery and everything like that. And then they also have on the website here that the again, williesdistillery.com, that they use a copper pot still made for them by Bavarian Holstein stills from Germany. So they've gone all in, obviously, like a lot of the distilleries do, and they got this shipped over to them and everything. And so they also deal with a lot of like Canadian whiskeys on their portfolio as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're right there. So
Exactly.
Yeah, they've got like 13, 15 products that they do, including some flavored stuff.
Yeah.
So they've got a portfolio.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of a cool thing. Obviously, we focused on and not knowing that you had this bottle. I mean, we didn't reach out to these guys. That'd have been cool to have them on the show. So maybe if we have them in the future, if we get our hands on another one of their products. But you know, we've featured some smaller distilleries, and we have a couple actually coming up in December as well.
Mm-hmm.
Stellum, and then also
Elvis.
Yes, that's not the distillery though. That's the product. Is the Elvis. We got the Elvis whiskey and the Elvis rye coming up. And so we've got some people from those distilleries as well that I'm excited to have on. But it's kind of cool to have something that you see this is happening all over the country.
I know my buddy lives out that way, so I can have him shoot down there and maybe give him a shout out and see what's going on. And
yeah, that'd be cool. And have us, yeah, we can hook up with him a little bit, or I can always reach out to him as well. But yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, this one, I don't want to say it. Like Nate, you're usually the one that says it tastes young, and you didn't say that tonight.
Well, I did. I touched on it a little bit when I said it has kind of a mineral.
That's what you think.
Yeah, there's some sort of mineral,
Gotcha.
and then also a floral note to it.
Yeah.
It's not an overly. It's not very sweet. Doesn't have like that rich caramel taste to it or vanilla. You know, I get more oak and floral notes from it. But again, that first sip was a lot better than I was expecting because of that 1 year age statement on it. I was expecting this to either be, very corn heavy or, almost taste like White Dog coming right off the still.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was pleasantly surprised by how this hit the palate on the first sip.
The first sip. Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's a little lighter.
Mm.
What's the proof on this? Is it
80?
80?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
80 proof.
Yep.
Named after, what is it, the Bighorn?
The Bighorn Ram.
Yeah, Bighorn Ram. Rocky Mountains there.
Rocky Mountains.
Strong, admirable, and wild. Kind of like you, Shannon.
It fits me to a T.
It is. It's the pinnacle of majestic mountain wildlife of the barbershop.
Oh, too bad my wife tamed me down, so just don't roam as much.
You don't roam at all. You're still majestic.
Still majestic, just locked in the barn now.
Yeah, that's right.
Always got a leash on.
He's in a stall.
But Shannon, you like this? This is the first time having it, right? You said.
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to like it at all. Just
you said that actually. You were very nervous.
I was nervous about it because, like Nate, it's super young, and all the young stuff I've had just has this weird taste right off the rip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this, it had a tinge of it in the beginning, and then it kind of went away really fast. And I had another sip, and I didn't have that same little weird taste.
Yeah, it kind of went away after that first one, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's really good. But like you said, it's super light, which is okay. It means you can sip on a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to knock you off your socks at 80 proof, which is even better.
Right.
And it's like a good sit down with your peeps cigar and not get too trashed and won't overpower the cigar and vice versa. And I guess it depends on the cigar, but
it does.
Yeah.
I think it goes well with it. I mean, so I am still getting a little bit of that, what you were talking about, mineral or whatever. It's got a little bit of that kind of lingering, and that might be some of the younger whiskeys in it. But being a blended whiskey, I mean, again, they have to put the lowest age, right? They have to put that 1 year if there's a 1 year in there.
Yes.
Which, I was talking with, we had a friend of the show on earlier in the garage before, and we were telling him about it. Very well versed bourbon guy, Bob Breyer.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were talking about it. I was telling him a little bit about it. I mean, the distillery was founded in 2010. And a lot of those distilleries, if they're in business now for 10 plus years, they would have some more age on it. But we don't know the story necessarily of what they focused on, how quickly they were getting all this together. But I mean, when you say you're founded in 2010, it doesn't mean you necessarily started business or started distilling in that first moment, right?
Doesn't mean you started making whiskey in 2010.
Certainly not whiskey. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talked with some of our other friends from distilleries that they go through that process. But
vodkas, gins,
they don't have any of that
spirits.
stuff.
Yeah.
They've got some moonshine. They've got some flavored stuff. They've got some local, like some sort of a cherry type of liqueur that they had that was made from local cherries. So, I mean, who knows what their story is as far as that goes. But, I mean, as far as this one, I don't think, like, I agree. I don't know if it's more MGP or whatever they use in Indiana. I don't want to say it's MGP.
Well, it's either MGP or Starlight.
Yeah.
So.
But it says, in Indiana, we don't know what the ratio is. We don't know if there's more coming from Indiana. We don't know if there's more coming from them. If it's like
we don't know the mash bill of either one.
Yeah, sure. Get kind of juiced up for part 2. You know what I mean? Get some of that Montana juice.
Montana baby.
Right there. And we don't know what the mash bill, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy sipping. I mean, and honestly, in all fairness to what we're saying here, kind of going over this, if you look at even their own literature, they say it's a, whatever, an exquisite blend of what, then it says for enjoying on the rocks or in a cocktail. They don't necessarily say, even on their own website that I saw, that this is one that you sip neat.
I saw one review that said, do not put this on the rocks.
Do not. What did it? Did it give any explanation?
I'd have to look it up. So
I'm just saying off of their own literature, they're saying that.
Since it's so young, it might water it down and just dilute it too much. I could see that.
They're saying if you put it on the rocks, it kind of falls apart and
just all over the table.
Turns into a profile that can only be described as a rancid pile of dry leaves that someone forgot to rake.
What website do you go to for this shit?
I was reading a bunch of stuff, and I
what
just
is this other person's issues?
I just saved that one because I thought it was hilarious.
And what distill do they own?
There's a lot of angry people out there, man.
Holy hell!
That's
Hey, Sean, what do you think of it, buddy? You over there sipping on some?
You've been sucking on some wet leaves lately. What did you compare it to?
I avoided the water to avoid the wet leaf
Smart.
rancid part.
Smart, yeah. Yeah, smart.
Right off the nose, when I first got it, just took, it's off the nose, it got a lot of caramel, vanilla notes, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good. But then when you take a sip, it's definitely tastes it's younger. I agree with Nate says it's not bad for being it's such a young whiskey or bourbon whiskey, whatever you call it. Both, I guess. I'm looking at the label now.
It's a whiskey.
All right, so
even though they say bourbon whiskey on there.
right,
yeah, but in order for it to be bourbon, it's got to be at least 2 years
right.
old.
So yeah, I just with it's okay. I
love Sean because if you don't have anything nice to say,
it's okay.
Yeah,
I try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Just let her rip, man.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Whoa, that's not very nice.
Let her rip, tater chip.
We'll make sure you say that when he's on next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Bipolar. Sorry, no.
Little Tourette's there.
Yeah, a little tready there. My bad.
Aggressive. Jeez.
So yeah, like Steve said, it's a good sipping whiskey. Definitely no putting water in. My God, it'd just be flavored water at that point. But
yeah, it might be good in cocktail. I mean, it's not like I agree.
Do you think this would stand up in a cocktail, like an old fashioned or Manhattan?
I wouldn't say in not necessarily one of those. No,
maybe with the Shirley Temple.
No, no,
maybe a whiskey sour.
That's what I was gonna say. There are other whiskey, like a whiskey sour, or some other ones that are a little bit. I mean, nowadays, you got the whiskey mules, you know what I mean. You got the bourbon mules are a big thing right now. That's huge. You go to a lot of bars that I go to. Not that I go to bars ever, but I mean, they don't just have like the vodka, the Russian vodka like mules and stuff. Now it's the Kentucky mule or a Tennessee mule or whatever.
I've seen some of those. Yeah,
this is something that I would compare more towards some of your classic Tennessee whiskeys that are a little sweeter, lighter, and everything else.
Yeah,
like that's where I'm looking at this one is, that would be if you drink those cocktails that you want a little more like sweetness and light type flavors to it. This would be one that would go well with it. And to be honest, it's not the most flattering thing to say about it, but with some of that like kind of the mineral type taste to it, it would go well in a copper tin mug. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It would do just fine in that kind of a cocktail. And I know it doesn't sound, like I said, very flattering to the whiskey, but again, there's purpose to it.
I do have a question though, or just a statement. It's just when you see it in the bottle, you put it in the glass, it looks like it's going to be a stronger, stronger whiskey. It seems like a lot darker. To me, it seems like it would be a little more.
You guys keep saying that. I think, however that bottle is, and it's not a colored bottle by any means, but like when I hold it up in a glass, it looks like apple juice. It's like not like a dark brown. It's got a little like orange to it. You know what I mean?
It's not that.
I don't think
it's not like
dark
that
as it was when the bottle was full. If that makes sense.
It's not that golden honey color that we see with some whiskeys.
No, but I agree. It does look like it could be a little more oomph to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think since it's at the 80 proof that lends to some more of that mineral taste or whatever? Is just because it's more young?
It could be. If this was a higher proof, it may not have as much of that mineral taste to it. The only way to know it would be if they did, say 100, 110 proof version of this and do a side-by-side comparison.
I don't know if you'd want to have that though, if some of these flavors are going to be enhanced.
Yeah, that could just enhance that minerality. It could take it away. Don't know.
Can I just bring up some of the conversation right now that is completely unrelated really to the topic at hand right now with the Bighorn bourbon whiskey, nor with the Gloria Cubana Spanish press that we're smoking, but Dustin Bovey, who is, he's been a part of the podcast in the past. He's got a new job. He hasn't been around much lately. He's going to try to get around in December, but
he was just in the barbershop.
He's got a new job with a company, and with that company, he is tuning in. Probably, he wrote it on there so I can say it, but he's tuning in from the Victoria's Secret warehouse, which, right, huge fan of their work and Vicky's Secret, and, but you got Jonathan Herring responding, Dustin Bovey, hot. And then Ray Cheshire, who used to work with the company, spent some time there. And then Sean's comment, Ray Cheshire spent some time trying to get in there. And I don't know if he means the building or into Victoria's Secret.
They probably see him walking and go, no.
Absolutely love that side conversation. And Jonathan Herring, I don't know if this is responding to that comment or not, but he says, Sean Anderson, I missed that stuff. That's sad. I don't think he's talking about Victoria's Secret. I don't know.
Shout out to Dustin. He came in yesterday and I chopped him up pretty good with his haircut. And
Nice.
he said he missed everybody. It's been hard, with his work schedule, but he's loving his new job and
Yeah.
things are going good. And
Hope it's going well with the family too.
yeah, family time, he said, has been pretty good now.
Good.
He was nervous about the second shift stuff, but it's actually kind of working out pretty good for him.
Do we know what the price? Because I saw some stuff online, but I don't know.
the price.
So on their website, williesdistillery.com, again, you can go on there and it says where to buy. And you have with that, you can click which state. So it is available in Ohio. And I think it's available for shipping, right?
It's available to ship. It's not on the shelves.
When you look at the map, so basically, use your imagination, like it's flipped around. But like, so if we were looking at a map, if the people are the map, oh, now you're confusing me. Just stop pointing. But so like they're up by Montana and like all of those states, it's available, I think, on the shelves, like up in that northwest area of the country. But then all the rest of it seems to be available to ship. So you click on the state and then it will provide you with websites of people that distribute to that state. And when I clicked on this one, it's about $44.99. So $45 if you're shipping it to Ohio.
Okay.
I didn't do enough, I didn't click on other states to see if it stayed consistent in pricing or
I was seeing a lot of like 50, 55.
So yeah, I mean, it said 40. Yeah. So available. There's 2 websites that you can go to if you're in Ohio, which I know a lot of our listeners are in Ohio, but there are, all the other states. I clicked on accidentally in Michigan, because I just didn't zoom in on the map. And there were 2 other websites. So it was the different websites will get it to you. So it's kind of a cool interactive map on their website that you can see that.
So I always wondered when, say, you order this bottle from there, when it comes to Ohio, is it regulated down through all our?
No,
because I know when I was looking at a bunch of different bourbons out there in the stores, everything was $10, $15, $20 higher than what it is out here
in Montana.
Yeah.
So I don't know the laws out there. That would be so. This is not going through OHLQ. This is not going through the Ohio Liquor, to my understanding. So I don't know if they've relaxed some of the rules on that, but I know there was a time where we couldn't get things shipped to us.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that they're doing this. There's certain websites are doing it. So I don't know if there would be, just kind of thinking out loud, that they're working with the different states to be able to do that, and they have to go through paperwork on that side of it. I don't know. But like when Karen was on, we were talking about like with the Slipknot whiskey from Iowa. She was able to get those shipped to the state as well, straight to you. When we get some bottles from the people that what do we have? Stellum coming up and the Elvis whiskeys and Barrel Craft. So Barrel Craft is also, hopefully, I'm not going to give away too much. I haven't seen it, but they're sending the podcast a gift again for the end of the year. So kind of fingers crossed it's this year's New Year's batch.
Speak it into existence.
Last year's was delicious.
But anyways, so they can't ship it necessarily. I think originally they couldn't ship it to the studio / my house because it's a residence. So they'd have to ship it to a FedEx store, and then I have to go pick it up. And we've had luck now shipping it to the shop. So I don't know if they can ship it now to residents. That'd be interesting to see, because my contact at all those companies, basically, he said, do you want me to try to ship it to your house or just ship it to the FedEx? And I said, just ship it back to the store. So there might be some like constant evolution on a lot of this stuff, as you can imagine.
Well, it does seem like over the years, Jim Canepa has been trying to make it easier for the people in Ohio to try and get some stuff that may not be available in Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dave Gord says you need to ship, quote, olive oil, end quote, to Ohio. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully not anymore if they do change that. Jonathan did have a good suggestion. We were talking about cocktails. This would be good in like he said, spicy ginger beer, but like a ginger beer type of a cocktail, like a whiskey and ginger. This would be nice in that, I think.
Yeah. Depends on how much
more mixers at my house. I got some Canada Dry in there.
Shit. Give that to Sean.
Jess just perked up.
Check. I mean, there might be. I mean, if you just want a ginger ale, I think there might be some in there, unless it was drank.
Don't look at me.
We had the Southie Movie Marathon. I cleaned up about like 6 different cans of ginger ale. Everyone, like it wasn't just you. It was other people. It's all over.
I know a spicy ginger beer might overpower this a little too much. again, depends on how much ginger beer and how
It's
much
all about the mixing.
whiskey you put in
It's
there.
all about the mixing.
That's all right.
Yeah. So unless you guys have any other questions, there's not a whole lot of questions on the feed about this. Again, I think it's just cool that we have this type of a bottle, gifted in a sense. Thank you, Shannon, for bringing it to the podcast, because this is something that I would never look up. I would never hear about the Willie or his wife and their history. But I think it always tends to have some way of tying in. Again, being Veterans Day tomorrow, him being a veteran and doing something in an industry that obviously we all enjoy and are enthusiastic about. So it's kind of cool. But with that being said, I mean, unless you guys have any questions, we can always go back to it. Throw this up. Whiskey, cigar, and pairing rating time here.
Whoa.
I'm interested to see what these
Go, Shannon.
just do.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Before we do that, Nate, I don't know if you knew this, and I can't wait to listen to it. It won't be out until probably, I don't know, they take forever to post it, but I did get a text from the Bourbon and Blondes. They were doing a episode last night recording, and it was the Oceans, actually. I don't know what voyage it was, but apparently, I think Abby, it was Elaine and Abby. I think Abby must try to imitate my voice and gave us a shout out on their podcast. And then also, I don't know if they called it that, but then Elena told me that Abby was the Russian judge with like a 7-point whatever. So friends of ours at Bourbon and Blondes, check them out as well. So go ahead with your ratings.
I can't wait to listen to that episode.
I know, I
to
gotta find
her
out.
try and imitate your voice. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think it was accurate. I can't.
Was there a voice changer in there or something?
They might have better technology.
Auto tune.
They might. I don't know. But I do know that they also posted a picture of how it was a good podcast, and the cork was like floating in one of the glasses.
Oh shit!
So I think they
man down.
I think
Or
they
woman down.
They did half a fifth of each at least. I imagine. So I also want to listen to that episode for that reason too.
Damn.
That might tail off like some of ours. Shannon, what do you think here?
All right,
Rating
starting
here?
with the whiskey.
Yeah, sure.
All right, whiskey. I will give it I'll go with a 6.5. Well, man, 7, 6.5, 7.
Jonathan Herring's calling out the Bourbon and BS drinking game decimal points.
Oh shit. So yeah, I'll go with a 7. It's light. It's I won't say it's refreshing. That's not, but it's a lighter drink.
Nice hot day.
It's a lighter drink. It's something you could sit even on a warm ass hot day and drink it down and not be sweating your ass off drinking it. It does start off a little bit, like you said, with the mineral kind of, but for me it went away quick, and it's been pleasurable. Just
Jesus.
Lord,
That was close.
That was just the lighter hitting the glass.
he's freshly back, folks. Don't judge him.
I didn't drop it on the floor.
Knocking some cobwebs.
That's
off.
I mean, I would add this to my my cabinet for sure, just to pull it out every once in a while and have a little sip on it,
and something to share with people too that haven't had it. Obviously, not many people have
Yeah.
had this, so you know a little bit of the story now.
And for
why
the
it's that
price
way.
point, maybe 40 some is a little much
Mm.
here. I could see it being a $35 bottle here. But yeah, like I said, I'll go with a 7 on it. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It's good.
It'll get you drunk.
It'll get you drunk.
It's effective.
Back alley drinks, baby. Come on.
Samuel
All
Jackson
right.
beer.
How about
Get
the
you
Gloria
drunk.
Cubana Spanish press here?
This I'm actually enjoying. I'm trying to slow down on smoking. I want it to last a little longer, but actually really, because I'm not a huge fan of the La Gloria stuff. I don't pick it out. I don't ever look at it when I go to the shop. But this one I'm actually digging. Like you said, it's smooth. It's got a smooth taste. It's got that earthy note to it that I like.
Yeah.
The pepper, which I'm not a big fan of, it was just enough where, okay, it's cool. I like it. It didn't overpower it. It disappeared pretty quick. Construction's been great. Like I said, I haven't relit it once.
Mhm.
And the smoke, the exhale, everything retro has been really good. So I'm going to give this bad boy an 8.
And before you get to the pairing, Jonathan Herring threw up there. Why would you add it to your cabinet? Anything unique going on?
I guess I'm different than most people. I don't need all the crazy bottles on my cabinet, all the expensive crap.
Show off bottles.
Yeah, the shelf bottles. I like good sipping stuff that I can go to and have a sip and not have to think about when I drink it. Like, oh shit, can I get that bottle again? You know, I'm not a bottle chaser. I guess I've never gotten into that. If it's there, I'll buy it, of course, but I don't go out and chase anything. So something like this, now that I've had it, now would I pick it off the shelf? Probably not until I taste it somewhere else.
Yeah. Why is that?
Wasting money.
Because you just don't know. It looks,
Yeah, looks, and like you said, the 1 year will always kind of make you think. Like you see some of this age 1 year, you're like, oh,
like
shit.
if I saw this on the shelf and hadn't had it and saw it at $45, I'm with a 1 year age statement. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfectly put. Yeah. So yeah, that's my reasoning. I like I said, I'm not a bottle chaser, but now that I've had this, I'd put it on my shelf. You know, I like the bottle. I like the.
Yeah, Sean Anderson said that.
I like
kind of different shaped.
Yeah, it's different shape. I do like the bighorn on it. You know, I'm an outdoors guy, so that's kind of cool.
Kind of a bighorn kind of guy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
All right, how about the pairing? Let's go.
Pairing, I'll give it a solid 7.5.
I like how it's
Solid.
0.5 is solid.
There's your drink, Jonathan Herring. There's the first decimal.
There's your decimal.
Solid 7.6.
I just think that one doesn't overpower the other. I feel like they go good together in my palate, at least. This has a little bit of sweetness, just a tinge that kind of pairs with the earthiness. For me, they just kind of balances out, and I could drink. If I was smoking these and drinking that, I'd be drunk real quick.
It's a reminder for part 2 to tune in while Shannon gets drunk. All right, Nate, how about yourself?
So I'm going to be pretty right in line with Shannon. So I'm a 7 on the whiskey as well. It was a lot better than I was expecting. Like before we drank it, seeing that was a 1 year age statement, also seeing some of the reviews, like I was not expecting
wet leaves.
That was only if you added ice. I was
cold wet leaves.
So part 2, we're adding ice.
It was rancid leaves.
I still want to know who this person is.
I
feel like someone needs to give him a hug.
Oh no!
You
read how they rate whiskeys, and you'll laugh your ass off. But no, I was surprised as how pleasant this was. Like I got that mineral taste, but it did not have this sharp finish on it that kind of made me just cringe. Like it actually had a really good finish. And I mean, it's for the price. Yeah, I wouldn't pick it up on the shelf even after having it. I probably wouldn't have it on my shelf at home.
But you still give it a 7.
But I'll give it a 7 because it's worth having once. For me.
Bighorn's going out of business.
Fuck.
The cigar. All right, stop. Just pull up on that one.
For the cigar, I'm going to give the cigar an 8. We didn't talk about the price point. I think on the shelf at the store, this is $8.95.
Yeah, it's under 10. I don't know where it's at since we got it back in.
$8.95.
All right, it's $8.95.
The one thing I will say,
Sean Anderson said I've known some women like that. I'm gonna give a shout out to the community watching tonight. You guys are on point. I wish I could just bring you all on, just randomly click on you and you're on the video.
I think for the price point of the cigar and the flavor, like it's a good bang for buck cigar. My biggest negative is I think the cigar does burn up a little fast because we're less than an hour in. And about an inch away from the band.
That's why I was slowing down because it was going so fast.
Yeah, but I do like the band because it's not that regular black, yellow, and red.
Yeah.
La Gloria, it's got that kind of fuchsia primary color on it. So it does stand out.
It is a good looking band.
And I mean, I know when we first got into the shop at the Tinder Box, I was definitely interested in trying it, and I did smoke a couple because it was a good smoke, good price point.
Yeah.
Most of the time though, for a Churchill, I'd be looking for something more than, an hour and 15-minute smoke. A lot of Churchills, I would expect, at least an hour and a half smoke time from it. That construction where it was running, as soon as I lit it up, the wrapper was running. Like now it, for probably the last inch of the cigar, it's been completely even all the way around.
All right.
So great construction on the cigar. For the pairing, I give the pairing an 8.
Okay.
Going from, on a lot of the pairings that we do, going from the whiskey straight to the cigar, sometimes there's so much heat or spice on the palate that it's a little overwhelming. This one, it's not. It does give a little bit more spice on the palate immediately going from the whiskey to the cigar, but it's not overwhelming. It's just enough to reignite the flavors on your palate. So I'm actually kind of surprised that they do go well together as well as they do.
Nice. For me, the whiskey, the Big Horn Bourbon Whiskey from Willie's Distillery in, what do we say, Ennis?
Yep.
Ennis, Montana. Get a little more of this here. Right?
You'll be getting drunk with me, buddy.
Settle up there, Thumb and Louise. Let's go. You're sleeping on the couch tonight.
Oh, shit.
Trying not to put that in front of you there. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 also. This is it's good, it's not great. I think it's enjoyable, but I'm kind of in between the two of you guys. I'd have it again, but I might have a bottle if if it was available. I wouldn't necessarily keep restocking it, but this is one that I would like walk through the liquor store and kind of be like, oh, you know what? I haven't had that in a while.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something I have to have on my bar but if I have it, I would maybe have a sip, or it'd be sitting at about, like, if you're watching like that level at my bar, and I'd probably be like, I'm not going to drink that. I'm going to actually keep that for a guest that comes over that's never had it. You know what I mean? This is something, again, $45. You're right there in the boutique starting point for a lot of that. And, 2010, you've been in and out for 10 years. But you look at even some of the local distilleries, like our friends at Watershed, which we've had on, their everyday product is $39.99. Their bottle of bond is $49.99. And then there it goes up. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, again, now it's all their own stuff, except for they're also blending there for your everyday product as well. So you're basically Ohio distillery there. In Ohio, it's $40. This is Montana, and it's shipping through a third party, $45. I'm good with it. I mean, that's pretty standard, I think, anymore for the whiskey world. And
then not to mention, they're also having to buy whiskey from another distiller to blend the product together.
But that was my point. Is comparison to Watershed, I think because they're also getting an Indiana component in that blended bourbon that we went over with Ann as well. So, 7 on this. I think it would be good in some cocktails, not necessarily some of your old fashioned, maybe Manhattan, not as much. I think some of the other ones like the ginger beer or ginger and whiskey or whiskey sour or something like that. I mean, this is easily mixable in that. We did not do it over the rocks, and I don't think it'd be as bad as rancid, wet, cold leaves. But
I don't either.
I think that person was just having a bad day. We gotta reach out to that guy.
He must have just got done doing some yard work and was just pissed.
Sometimes it does. You don't want to do it on a Sunday. You know what I mean? You want to watch football, you want to do something else, and now you got to be out there mowing or whatever, raking leaves. I'm more of a mow the leaves, mulch them into the yard thing. I have a leaf blower basically just for my patio.
Yeah,
why not? Get it off. The cigar, I did want to comment on this. If you guys have seen this before in a humidor, they did I think they rebanded this. They tweaked it a little bit. They sharpened it up a little bit. I do like the colors. It's unique. You don't see it a lot. Jonathan Herring, who is with Forge, which he didn't mention this, but as I'm listening or seeing Jonathan Herring, who's been on the show before, now he's in Texas. He was with General Cigars. They split General and Forged. The Gloria Cubana is a forged brand. Okay. So I didn't really mention that earlier. This is a new split and venture for those guys. So Cameron, who's our local rep in our area, he was in town today, and he even said, he's like, man, I should have told you I was coming in town, but I did. Yeah, kind of last minute. He's in the area for another reason. So hoping to get him on the show. And we would love to get Jonathan back on, or again, remotely, most likely. But It is a lower price point. This is something that originally was in a different shaped box. The most recent shipment, it's in a more traditional box, but it is kind of like that color, so it stands out a little bit. It's this different color box with a Gloria Cubana. This is the Toro size that we're smoking. I give it an 8 based on, and I am bringing price into this one to give it an 8. This is if it was a little more expensive, maybe a little lower. If it was a little cheaper, definitely higher. But 8 is, I think, because it's just accurately priced for what you're smoking. This is a good cigar. It's got some good flavor. You're using unique tobaccos as far as the blend goes. Different regions with that. What was it? Brazilian, I think, was the binder on there. Right?
San Andreas was the binder.
San Andreas was the binder.
Brazilian,
I forgot.
What, Brazilian Jalapa,
Nicaraguan Jalapa on the wrapper, Brazilian in the filler, San Andreas in the on the binder there.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, it's unique. So again, at that price point, getting that type of tobacco blend, it's going to be something you haven't smoked before. So, and I've been talking way too much, so mine's been burning slowly. But Nate, I think I trust you on the burn time on that because of the way you are smoking that. You still have some, though, over an hour into it, talking a bit, but I don't know if it's slowed down a little bit for you. You slowed down on it, but you're not quite to the band yet, and we are at a full hour in. So for a Toro to go an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere in that, probably closer to hour and 15, you're not too far off on that.
Is this considered a Toro or a Churchill?
It's a Toro.
Oh, it's a Toro. Okay.
I believe. Yeah, we don't have the Churchill. Let me see. I think it's a little longer than a traditional one. Jonathan's out there.
Traditional Toro would be 6 by 50.
6.5 by 52.
Okay.
So yeah, Toro's a 6.5 by 52.
Okay, then I thought this one was 7.
Mm-hmm.
No, so if it's a 6.5 inch by 52 Toro, then yeah,
You're about right.
the smoke time I'm going,
Not bad. With the pairing, I'm kind of with you. I think it's an 8. This is not something I would seek out necessarily again, just based on my previous comments about the bottle and the cigar. But it is an enjoyable pairing because, again, I think I agree with you guys. I don't want to necessarily reiterate it a whole lot, but it doesn't necessarily take away from the other one. The cigar does, I think, you guys talked about, yes, just like any whiskey or cigar, it starts differently than it will be midway or end just because the palate gets kind of dulled by some overpowering pepper or overpowering flavors or that mineral flavor. I will say this, when I set the cigar down, I took more sips of the whiskey back to back. Some of those initial flavors started coming back. So I'd say the pairing is an 8 pushing 9 almost because it actually complements the other one where it subdues maybe some of the more not as enjoyable notes with the whiskey or the cigar that go well together that way.
I agree with that.
What are you laughing at? You can bring up the comments.
Sean Anderson.
Say it. Or you want me to say it?
There's Nate giving women ammo again, always trying to sneak in an extra inch or so here or there. It was half an inch.
That's hilarious. You thought it was 7, but it was actually 6.5. So that is your ruler's off, bud.
So where do you measure from?
Oh boy. Anyways, that was good. That's gonna round out. Was it measured twice, cut once?
What are we cutting? If you're talking about lumber, yes.
Just the importance of length. Size matters sometimes, not always. Patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast or Venmo at bourbonbs. You guys are amazing for helping us out on all of this consistently. You guys support the show. We really appreciate it. And any new patrons or anyone that hasn't received a t-shirt, if you could contact me through the Patreon page and you can message me and I will make sure to get you a t-shirt if you haven't gotten one already, now that we have them readily available, which is again by jack.com/bourbonbs. You guys can get them yourself. If you are a patron, I sent out an email to you guys or a message through Patreon. When you're a Patreon member, not only will we get you a shirt based on your tier, but you also have special pricing on any of the swag. So going forward, I've got a conference call with byjack.com. That's byjack.com. I have them scheduled for Thursday. I'm going to talk to them about some shirts, kind of like what I'm wearing right now. I'm going to get the other Bourbon and BS podcast logo, the barrel with the Bourbon and BS with the cigars. I'm going to get that on some swag. Also looking at some hoodies for both BS Cigar Company and also for the podcast. So hopefully in the next month you'll see some new stuff up there.
Hoodie weather. Come
Hoodie
on.
weather. Anyways, tinderbox.com. No, Tinderbox at Easton. Jesus. Tinderbox at Easton.
Oh, Bighorn getting
I'm
you.
telling you, that's not 80 proof. Tinderbox at Easton, Altadis USA, and BS Cigar Company. Jody Jack says women's, yes, and also some women's V-necks are going to be popping up here soon as well. It's all about the swag.
Swag.
And for that, cheers to part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. We've got Shannon had the suggestion of what if, and so we've got some conversation with that, along with some of the Bourbon and BS community page suggestions on what if. So interested in that conversation, guys. Stay tuned. If you're listening live on Facebook or YouTube, now's a great time to take a break or to share it. And then also, if you're listening to the audio, click to part 2. Guys, happy Whiskey Wednesday. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sure, this is 80 proof.
I don't know. I think
There's
there's
the
a
same regulations in Montana that we do in the rest of the states.
I think this is a misprint.
Is that handwritten?
I think it is. Hold up.
I think
It's
AJ.
like crossed off.
Yeah, I think AJ may have bottled this a little stronger.
Yeah, we need to get a hold of AJ. Like, what the hell do you do here?
And the back of the label says this is batch 87, so it's not like this is their first go
No.
at making
It was
this whiskey.
bottled on 9/8/21, so not too
2
long.
months ago.
Wow, Sean is getting after it tonight. That was a
And
bad circumcision.
since you just joined,
Here, I'll click on this here.
the bottle is the Big
There you go.
Horn Bourbon Whiskey coming out of Montana. And it's a blend of their whiskey and Indiana whiskey, so probably MGP.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pull up some of these what if stuff going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones on there.
There are. I got to, I posted on, you guys,
What?
can you pull it up on your phone, the community page one?
Yeah.
Because I've got some on the community page, I've got some on my page, and also the podcast page. And some messages. You take a break, or are you good?
I'm good.
All right.
The Bighorns got me good, brother. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Lauren.
I want that shirt.
The one I'm wearing.
The green one.
The green one.
The Patty's Day?
I paid.
No, that was the light
black-
sleeves, black and gold.
I still want it. Whatever.
Let's see if I can get it on there.
She did buy you dinner.
I know. I don't wanna buy it off of there. I want what yours.
You want mine?
Sean wants to know how long the bottle is.
I know. Like, what? Is there a tape measure in that?
Hey, what's up, Scott, buddy?
Sean's all about the measurements now.
My buddy Scott Wagner just came on.
Hey, Scott, thanks for the bottle.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you. We were talking about trying to get those guys on the podcast here and down the road. So maybe you can swing by there. We can contact them. But if you got any info, shoot it my way.
That's the logo I'm trying to get on some stuff too.
Ooh,
You seen that one?
no, that's
Isn't that sweet?
yeah.
Yeah.
What we need some of these.
Wait, which logo?
The barrel head.
Oh, yeah.
You need to make those into a coaster.
What, that barrel head or the digital one that is on your
Well,
booze
since
box?
it's digitally printed, I think we can do this one.
Okay.
But we might be able to do the stitch one too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the barrel head. Well, yeah, you can pull off the barrel head on a shirt.
Oh yeah. Black hoodie.
What do you think on that first pull you got there?
All right.
It was really smooth.
What were you drinking before then?
I was just sipping on some larceny.
Okay. Actually, yeah, that makes yeah. Let's see what we got in here. Let's roll it out.
I'm good.
The only one, just to keep on here before we go in here, someone can remember this. The only comment we had on the actual Bourbon and BS podcast page was, "What if a frog had wings? It wouldn't bump its butt on the ground." We don't have to go over that because she's already answered it. What if a frog had wings and answered it? It wouldn't bump its butt on the ground.
Who
So
said that?
Victoria.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
That was your mom?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, careful what you say now.
That's
Oh.
amazing. I love it.
I'm gonna
I
back it
love
down. Back it down.
Pull up, sir. Pull up.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Well, I guess the only ones that are really on that. You've got I'll pull it up as well. The community one.
Yeah, I've got the community one pulled up.
I'm gonna have to do that too. Yeah, I had a couple of personal ones, and the rest of them, it's 24 comments on the community page. So,
Well, yeah, but the first 6 were about a new IPO that went off today. So
I think we could bring in the, investing while drinking comment.
Oh,
Don't do it.
Don't.
Rivian, yes. Yeah. What did it open up at? It's supposed to be 78.
That was projected.
I think it was over 100. Anyways, I'll look that up here. So you're here.
Maybe a little bit. Oh no! Oh no!
It's at 106 close.
Yeah, good for them. If I only had more money. If you guys want to
What
contribute to
if?
my
that would
Robinhood
solve
account,
that would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it?
Solve a lot of problems. What if I had more money? Start off with
I got 99 problems, and at least 97 could be solved with more money.
that song's still accurate though. Bitch ain't one. It's a great love song.
As we have an even 50-50 split in the audience.
Yeah.
The old balladeer, Jay-Z.
Yep. Tugging at the heartstrings. Oh, we got some comments also. Kind of keep track of that too here. Ann's got one on there. Let's get into it then. All right. Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 194, part 2. The topic tonight is what if? We still have Shannon here, Shannon Chapman in the garage with us. Nate Hale's back from Nashville, the vacation in Nashville, which was 98% great.
Yes, it
Is
was.
that accurate?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, we have what if. I do want to thank our sponsors that we have every week at this point. We have Tinder Box at Easton, Altadis USA, and Be a Cigar Company. The featured cigar in part 1, check that out, was the La Gloria Cubana Spanish press. And that's from Tinder Box at Easton, which they do have available in the Toro size, which we went over. It's a 6.5 by 52 box press, but it is a unique Spanish press where it's kind of the hard angles on the top of the cigar and more rounded on the bottom. Check that out for the ratings as well. More information about that. And thank you, Shannon, also for bringing the Big Horn Bourbon Whiskey, which we're still sipping on.
Yes, sir. And thank you, Scott, out there, and for dropping it off, buddy. Appreciate
Did he
you.
comment? Is he watching?
Yeah, he just came on, so
Nice.
he's on there now.
Scott, thank you very much for that. We've been enjoying it. I think 80 proof is suspect.
It's very suspect.
We don't even have the heater on, so we're not even breathing in the burnt off propane right now.
Yeah, there's no funny gas going on.
No.
So
I also, BS Cigar Company Gold and Silver are available. And then also patreon.com/Bourbon BS Podcast. It's a way you guys can support the show. Also support the show by sharing it, getting more people involved in the conversation, getting them on the Facebook page, the community page, the Bourbon and BS community page. If you guys want us to buy a certain bottle, you don't want to sign up for a monthly, we made it easier on Venmo. If you have that at Bourbon and BS, you can send us a contribution. Or if you do, like I say, want us to buy a bottle that we can get our hands on, the retail price, or contribute just to the whiskey fund, if you will, you can hit us up on Venmo at Bourbon and BS. Also, do want to mention, I think some of the more excitement here recently is the apparel that we are getting more and more out. Buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS. If you're a Patreon member, you get special pricing. If you're just a member of the show that would like to get some of the swag, t-shirts right now are $25 a t-shirt. There's a charity shirt right now that's a charity pink that's going to Breast Cancer Foundation. $10 donation from the podcast to that. For every shirt sold, it's the charity pink with the podcast front to it. The pour one more, light up another. We'll figure this out together. So hopefully we can keep doing that for other charities as well as we get bigger and bigger as far as the support. I think it's an easy way to get something that you guys enjoy wearing and support the show. It's a fun shirt. And also these charity shirts will go to a great cause. There's some donations there. So Shannon, what if you're invited to a podcast and you were asked what the topic should be?
What if?
Oh, it's excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So you want the reasoning behind that, I guess. We all have that question, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of the well-known questions we all have in our life. I guess for me, when I was thinking about it last week, I lived the first half of my life in the what ifs, because how I was raised and the condition I was raised in. If you don't know, brief story, I was adopted. I was adopted into my family with my grandparents, but I was adopted. I didn't know for a long time, but once I learned that I was adopted, I was in grade school, maybe 5th or 6th grade. And that always struck me, like, what if I would have stayed with my parents? As you know, this is as I got older into my high school years and later years. The big question was always, what if I would have stayed with them? Where would my life be? Would it be worse? Would it be better? And I always struggled with that. And that caused a lot of problems in my youth, teens, and mid-20s, kind of up into my 30s. All my decisions were made off that what if, like, why this, why that, blah blah blah, what if. And I struggled with that a long time. But
if you guys want to hear the full story from Shannon, I think it is episode 102, Share Your Growth.
Yeah.
That's the one that I think you were on the first time, January of 2020.
Yes.
Before everything changed.
Cold as hell in here, buddy.
It wasn't balmy like now.
No, it definitely wasn't balmy, but from what Nate said, it's about to get cold again. So
again, you bring it up. But yeah, episode 102, Shannon was on. He appreciate you opening up on that one.
Yeah, so a lot of that question stems, that goes in many directions in all of our lives, in my life too, but I always struggled, like, with what if I would have stayed with my actual biological parents, where my life would have went. Would I be a different person? Would I would grow quicker? Would I have grown slower? Would I be in jail? Would I be all kinds of crazy stuff? And it drove my life forever. So I don't know. I just struggled with that forever. Now, when you have the hindsight like you have now, that what if is kind of taken out of that equation, because I kind of know where that would have went. Now that I've matured and understand life and decisions and all that other good stuff, but it bleeds into everything else in our life: job decisions, relationships. God, how many questions we got on there? Were so many questions.
I think what I did notice before we get into questions is that, actually, and Nate, you were part of that conversation there, and Sean's already on it. Sean Anderson is great support of the podcast. He's like, he doesn't really like the what if, right? He don't like the phrase, because there's two ways you can look at it. I put it in the description of this episode, for part 2, is that it's either, what ifs of like the past, what if this would have happened, like you're talking about, Shannon, and also there's a what if of the potential futures. Right. Yes. It's like that choose your own adventure book type thing. You know what I mean? It's like, what if I do A or B here? The job, there's some questions about that. We can hit those, as far as the conversation. But there's what ifs of the past. What if I would have done this differently? Or what if this would have happened? Or what if I would have had different parents? What if I would have been, raised differently? Or it's what if I choose this job? What if I had, like Nate, you had a couple good questions on there as well. We can bring up too. It's like, what if you could do this? Like the hypotheticals. What if you could do this?
Yeah, going forward.
So looking back or going forward is a big part of this what if. And I think sometimes, and I noticed this from certain people that were asking, and Ray's bringing up Jody, who's been around, what if, and he says that she was saying, what if is only really relevant going forward? Well, mentally, productively, yes. But sometimes what ifs also, not in hindsight's 2020, but I also will say that we learn from the past. That's the goal here, is that if you have those, and so the what ifs can be framed on how you can actually react going forward, as opposed to just the what ifs. So I think dwelling on the what ifs of the past and dwelling on these things that could have gone differently, and then you feel sorry for yourself or others, or things could have gotten better, that's not a productive way of doing it. You look back on things and there's a what if. Well, that hopefully is something that you can frame going forward tomorrow or even today, you know what I mean, in the future. So yes, the goal is obviously future mindset there.
That's why I liked what Sean Anderson had commented earlier because Ann started bringing up some what ifs, and I think it was the last time we had Ann on that came up in the conversation, and she was
I
like,
love that.
she was like, well, what if you could go back to when you were 18 and give yourself advice? And initially I'm like, there were some things I
had to call you out.
You had to call me
Answer
out.
the fucking question.
But I
And
had
it's all because of Jess.
it
Thanks a lot,
it,
Jess.
it was. I had such a hard time.
But
trying
then
to
I wouldn't
answer.
have met my wife. And it was
exactly.
But yeah, okay.
And so
we
Sean
understand that.
was like, hey, be easy on Nate tonight.
I think it was finally like, Nate, all right, we get it. You love your wife. Got it. Cool. You're not leaving your wife by answering this question. Like, we are going to be okay. Like, there's no insult here, for Christ's sake. It's a purely hypothetical situation. Now, if you say don't go out with your wife, then that would be a bad answer. So I understand, but that's not where we're going. All right. So what do we got? What do we got? Some questions here.
Do you want me to just go right down and based on the comments from the
Yeah.
post, or so not counting the IPO that went out?
Well, you would have made some money if you would have.
If you could have gotten in at the initial, then yeah, probably. Let's start with Jess's. What if you
Of
had
course you wouldn't after that.
What if you had chosen path X instead of the path you chose? How would your life be different today?
That's a pretty open question, right?
It is.
Nate wouldn't have met his wife. I think we determined this. You want to field that one?
No, you guys first. I read it. You guys.
Oh. No, I think that's. I mean, it's too general, right? I mean, that's something that I think that's a again, what I was just kind of going over is that's a way of looking at it. Is if you dwell on those types of situations, and it's a lot of different things. You could have taken a left instead of a right. You wouldn't have gotten in that accident. You know what I mean, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
When I think about that, I think about the what ifs, how I struggle with that in the beginning. It stopped me from taking chances.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the what ifs come into play. Are you a chance taker? Are you a risk taker? When you were presented with A and B, I always chose the easy because I wasn't a risk taker because of what followed me from the past. Now that I've come through a lot of things, I've become more of a risk taker and I'm ready to fail at things. I was never comfortable with failing. So that I never gave myself the what if. I would kind of take that out of play. I would just go with option A because it was easy.
Better or worse?
Yeah, better or worse.
Are you a calculated risk person now, or are you just a risk taker? What are you going with your gut still, or are you going with like you
I
actually
think I'm
think
more
it over?
I'm more of calculated now.
Yeah.
I'm still cautious about a lot of things. I have an opportunity coming up. It's just in the beginning stages right now, and there's a lot of what ifs in it, and I'm trying to avoid those and just stay on the course, move ahead with it because there's a lot of big changes that come with it. A lot of life changes and maybe location changes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to. This literally just started today. This conversation. The idea was there a month ago, maybe. After a couple conversations with certain people, it's presented itself today in an email. So now we're moving forward to see where this goes.
You can't talk about it.
I mean, I can talk about it. It's actually, so everybody knows I'm a barber, and my whole goal was to have my own barber shop. My way, the way I see it and envision it, there might be an opportunity coming up for me to do my own thing, which I've always wanted to do, but it comes with me moving to maybe Bell Fountain. So
it's a longer commute to the garage.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know if you're factoring that in.
that's the what ifs,
What are you
baby.
doing Wednesdays?
So
Shannon Chapman remotely from Bell Fountain.
Belle Fontaine. So I mean, those are the things, and I don't know anything about business. I've never been a business owner, so
Okay.
it's scary as shit. And there's all those what ifs. Like, do I really want to take this chance? I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm making good money. I have all my people here in Columbus. I've grown up here. But here's this opportunity I've always wanted and seen myself doing for the last 3 or 4 years. And here it is, kind of the door's cracked, right?
Yeah.
And I have to get the kahunas together to open the door all the way and see where this really goes.
That actually kind of leads to one of the what ifs that I had posted on the page. What if you could do your dream job, but you were only going to make what you're making now?
I would be okay with that.
Okay.
Honestly,
I think that's an easy one. I mean,
because a lot of
you frame that too easily, like, because like if I'm gonna make what I'm making now and I could do something, my dream job, whatever it might be, and say you're not doing your dream job right now and you're making that money, I'm like, yes, tomorrow, let's start, because I want to enjoy what I'm doing and making the same money. If you, a different what if to frame it a little more challenging might be, is what if you could do your dream job, but you had to make less money than you're making right now?
Well, when I came up with that question, like I was thinking, like some people have aspirational that like they wish they could be a professional ball player, like baseball, football, basketball, something like that, where you're making a lot of money. Well, would you do that if you were only making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000?
Yes, I'd play baseball. I'd play a sport for the same amount of money. Like if I was like in a cubicle job, you know what I mean? Like if I was like going to work and, looking forward to lunch. or I could be playing baseball for the same amount of money. I'm like, yeah. Am I good? I mean, obviously I'd be good at baseball.
Yeah. Assuming you're good enough to play professional baseball.
Player.
Yeah.
That's not.
He's got an arm.
I used to. I'm a righty. Right?
My bad.
If I was playing baseball, making the money I'm making now, I'm not in the pros. I know that. I'm in the farm system somewhere.
Would you go through all the work, all the conditioning, the 162 games, all the traveling away from your family, making whatever it is you make now working at Tinder Box?
Well, I don't know necessarily if I'm the fair one to answer that, because I wouldn't necessarily say being a manager at a cigar shop is my dream job, but it is definitely an enjoyable job. So I'm happy with my job. That'd be a toss-up. Yeah, I'd like to still play baseball or whatever sport you want to put this as, your example, whatever your favorite sport is. If I would probably choose still working at this stage of my life, work at the Tinder Box for that amount of money, doing what I'm doing, working close to home, being home every night, you know what I mean? Having the opportunity for that versus traveling and not being home and having a more, if you're going to look at it realistically, the dream job also is the baseball thing be short-lived. Mm-hmm. Any job could, but again, unless I love the movie The Rookie with, Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Which I like to identify with, even though I can't throw 90 some miles an hour. I haven't thrown in a while, so maybe, I got a speed gun out there. Let's do it on a Wednesday night after a few whiskeys.
When I think
when I'm throwing it towards Sunbury Road, just let him fly. Let her fly. I got this. Just get the gun out. Let's go.
When I think about that question, I would take a dip in a little bit of money, because I think at the end of the day, we all want to be our own shot caller, and that's what this opportunity will bring for me. I see a vision of a barbershop different than other people see their barbershops. I love my barbershop. It's great. It's a busy shop. People are amazing. Our clients are amazing. But I see in my mind's eye a different way to do it. And there's no rocket science to barbering. Let's just get that out there. It's just atmosphere wise, how the shop would be set up. I just see things differently. And this is for me to have an opportunity to take that route and to build what I see, I think would work. That to me, that's everything right now. And I would take a little loss for a little bit more of control.
Yeah. Well, if you start your own business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pay cut right away.
100%. And yeah.
Right off the rip. I want to get to Jody Jacks here on here. Let me put it up on the screen here. See where this is going, but she's got a lot of thought in this, and she did have some good ones as well on the community page, right?
Oh yeah.
But she just
she posted some later. Yeah,
she said when I was 21, I asked myself, what if? And it changed my life for the better because I accepted my own challenge about what my life could be like if I stopped living in the past. I am where I am because of my choices that always started with what if questions. I look at the past to learn from it, but I've chosen not to dwell there. But I do want to learn from it. So we'll see if she gets back in here with more comments. But I do want to throw that out there because it's a great, impactful message there.
If I were to answer my own question,
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think since I I don't think I would do I don't really think I would do my dream job if I was making what I make now, just because of the risk involved.
Okay.
What's the risk?
So ever since I was a kid, I'd wanted to be a helicopter pilot.
What's the risk?
Death.
Crashing? Being a
Helicopters.
bad helicopter pilot? I feel like
He's like, I always wanted to fly Airwolf.
if you got the job, you'd be qualified for it. You're saying there's a high risk?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
I
The obvious.
yeah, I mean, I have a friend of mine who was in the service, and he's like, yeah, helicopters aren't designed to fly, and yet somehow they do. And that was
I feel like they designed them to fly.
that was the one part of the job he hated more than anything else, was flying in a helicopter, because there's just so many things that can go wrong. And I mean,
He's not a pilot, though.
I either wanted to be a helicopter pilot for a police department or like a med flight. And I think with some of the hours and stress involved in that, like, I don't know if it would be worth what I make now.
Well, I think there's your what if right there too. I mean, this is where again you can frame this what if thing. It's you would do it if there was no risk. If you knew you're going to land every time safely, but you're looking at it in a not want to say a glass half empty type of thing, but you're given that opportunity. So say they double your pay. Is there a price on it, or are you looking at the what ifs as something could go wrong? So it doesn't matter what they pay you to be a helicopter pilot. You could be a helicopter pilot for the traffic on the local news, and you're like, I don't know, man. You're going to pay me $1 million a year for that?
I would at that point.
So you don't care about dying at that point.
Yes.
No, Jess, you get the money when he does the what if happens. Apparently.
I work for him.
Oh, have you had $1 million?
I get
She didn't comment.
She paused.
She doesn't have a microphone, but it's not that you couldn't hear her. She didn't say anything. Jesus Christ. Jess, do you want the microphone on that one? No, you don't.
We actually have a few
Go.
guys in the community. They're actually helicopter. Shane Cooper.
Shane Cooper, yeah.
His buddy Heath. He's a med flight guy, I believe.
He was training people actually.
Yeah, he's actually
he was up in Port Clinton, Ohio. He's doing some tours too.
Yep. So they absolutely love that craziness. He always tells me all the crazy stories up there.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, let's do an easy one here, and then you can go back to the Ann Demick from Watershed. She's been on the show several times. Love having Ann on here. They just released some great new products through that 5 year. Did you see that, Nate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lottery going on for that still, I think.
Oh, wow.
Hope. I didn't sign up yet. Tried when it first went live, and I couldn't get on there because it wasn't working. But here's an easy one. What if you, not easy one, but a more, not what if the helicopter went down type of a comment. What if you could choose one superpower? What would it be? Nate would be to fly.
Actually, yeah, it would.
In case the helicopter's going down, he bails out. See you guys. I'll see you on the ground. You won't see me.
You'll get to the ground first.
Damn.
Would that be your superpower?
It was.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was.
Thanks for flying Nate Hell Express.
Well, no, because then, like, if I wanted to go on vacation, just fly there. No airport, no paid for a
What
ticket,
about
no rental car.
See her down there?
Just like Superman. I'll bring her along, like Lois Lane.
All right,
Oh
all
shit.
right. Shannon, how about you?
Superpower?
Yeah, what if you could choose a superpower?
I've always been a fan of Spider-Man. I like the Spidey sense. I like the flying.
One power,
One power?
not what superhero you could be.
Why you gotta ruin everything?
So
bro?
like,
You want the
Fly,
I don't think you want
strength,
Spidey sense if you can't do anything about it.
X-ray vision.
I definitely don't want X-ray vision. That's a big no.
You can turn it on and off.
So what are all the different superpowers? I guess we got
Well,
flying.
There's so
And
many.
also brought up teleportation, flying, super strength,
Wait, there's
super
a list
speed.
this week?
Like you're the Flash. Let's just start naming DC people and we'll figure them all out.
Jonathan Aaron says being in shape without going to the gym. I don't know if that's a super.
That should be.
I think that's a diet pill.
That's the magic, baby. The magic.
Oh, stopping time. Well, stopping time. It's yeah. It's almost like
Teleportation,
invisibility.
Spider-Man rules, stopping time, invisibility, and Shauna. She is curious. And what would yours be? Also on the comments. Shannon, how about you?
Never get drunk.
I kind of dig the teleportation thing. That's pretty dope. I could be here now, and when we're done getting smashed here, I can just teleport home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer the superpower thing? I feel
Don't
like
teleport drunk.
Sean has been on the podcast plenty of times, and he's also a frequent audience member. He grabbed the microphone when the superpower thing came up. Go ahead.
Oh,
You
yeah.
thought about this, I know.
All the time. To be like have super speed. That way I could
The
play.
Flash.
Well, and this is why. Because I could play football, pro, make all the money in the world, play soccer, play any sport I want.
I feel like they would ban you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Well, he
Nate.
passed drug test. It was just a superpower.
That's why Superman. That's why you never
Well,
see
that's why
Superman
I'm
playing
not gonna-
sports.
well,
no,
hold
he
on.
didn't do it because
Hold on. I would be
He played
on the
football.
DL with. I wouldn't go all out, but I'd go fast enough to
control it.
So yeah, so kind of like
Yes.
the little boy in the
where he
Incredibles,
slows
where he's
down the
like,
track race.
"Go for
Yes.
second, go for second."
All right.
So
Are
that's
you
what-
working on this, or
No, not even close. But just wish superpower.
I feel like you thought about it so much?
Oh,
that you,
yeah, I could play for
you
the
stay
Browns.
up late.
I could play for the Crew all at once.
I do healing. I do the Wolverine
No.
thing.
Oh, here we go.
No, there's a lot of benefits here, right? So with the healing thing, you've got your borderline invincibility, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a comic book guy. I like the comic book movies. You know, he got shot in the head.
So like
Deadpool, minus the cancer thing, you know. I didn't like that part. But I mean, like, but again, yeah, you're healing constantly. So a lot of these things, like you get sick, you're good, right? So like a lot of the outside factors no longer bear any, consequences to you because you're going to heal.
That's the same reason why my mom said
More or less immoral.
That's
or
why my mom
immortal.
said have a rubber body
Maybe
so that way you.
immoral.
That's why my mom said have a rubber body so that way when she falls she doesn't get hurt.
the healing would be a lot
Exactly.
easier than rubber or whatever.
She wouldn't have had that spiral fracture on her ankle.
Exactly.
There it is.
And in that comment, based on what you said about that, drink and not get drunk, you can't get drunk because you're constantly healing.
And Jonathan said he didn't want the teleportation because that'd be too many visits every day.
Yeah.
Shop visits.
He has no excuse not to visit 20 shops in a day.
So you don't want it. Never mind. All right, what's next?
Bighorn, come on, baby.
Come on, Bighorn. 180 proof. They forgot a one.
Oh gosh. Well, I know I had the other one. If you could move, if you were given the opportunity, you can move anywhere you wanted and still do the job you're doing now.
Ooh, yeah.
Would you move?
Yes.
Or what would prevent you from moving?
Other life circumstances. That would be like whoever you're with and all that stuff. Can they do what they, you know what I mean? Like, can they do their job? Can you do all that stuff?
Man, I would move out west in a heartbeat. Scott, I know you're out there. He's been trying to get me out there forever. But being out west, that would be my jam. I just love the outdoors. I love the mountains. I love camping. And if I could still do my profession in that capacity, it wouldn't even be a thought.
Would Mrs. Shannon go with you?
Oh God, yeah.
I don't know what she does.
She's been poking me in the ribs for the last year to like move somewhere. So
All
so
right.
yeah, that would be no problem.
So yeah, and with your current occupation of being a barber, you may not make it right away, but you could do all that
Yeah. With my license,
You need a little nest egg to like if you like that would be the clean break, right? Is that you would say, all right, I'm going to start a business like you were talking about, you were alluding to, like start a business when I go out here. Maybe you have to work in a chair somewhere else to start getting part of the community, but that is a very universal occupation.
Yeah.
Nate, what would you do?
Yeah, I probably would move.
Where?
I mean, I'd have to.
Why would you move then? I think the what ifs a lot of times there's a why there, right? So I mean, like, why would you move?
I don't know. Just I would want to move to some place where, I enjoyed, living in that area more than where, living in Columbus. Whether there were things around for me to do more than what I do now, like, I've always joked around, like if I ever won Mega Millions, you'd never see my ass again, because I'd move to like South Dakota or Montana and just live on a bunch of acreage and
all right, I'm gonna call you out here. Says the guy that goes on vacation and he just goes to cigar shops. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if I
Even
won
on vacations, you end up in cigar shops when you.
But if I won the Mega Millions, I would just call you up and have you ship me cigars.
You can't hang out in a cigar shop then.
you'd open your own
That's
cigar
fine.
shop.
I've got 1,000 acres to hang out at.
All right.
I got a giant ass back porch I can hang out and
All right.
watch the sunset and drink whiskey. And
So
smoke
you would work
cigars.
remotely from that.
If I still had to work, yes.
That was the question, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going off like when I made the
So,
comment of Mega Millions.
If you could do what you're. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
No, I would. Like, I think a lot of us, when it comes to that, like, I think one of the things that might hold a lot of us back is some of us may live near family, and we don't necessarily want to move
It's a lot of factors.
move too far away from family. But then I look at, yes, all my family is within, I would say 45 minutes of where I live now.
No, your mom.
Not my mom.
Take some of that big horn right there.
But I mean, obviously,
send us another bottle of this right now.
I hang out with my mom whenever she comes into town. Or I
Yeah.
try to meet her up for lunch. But other than that, no. Okay.
No, we still still part two here.
But initially when
Yeah, why don't
I
you-
came up with that question, I was like, oh, but I'd be moving away from all of my family. But then I was like, how much time do I actually spend with the rest of my family?
It's the availability, and
Yeah.
nowadays you can, minus the last year, right? Like you can still travel back if you need to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm either at work or I'm at home. I mean, that's about it. And, Jess is the only family that I really spent any time with. So
Well,
if she was moving with me, like,
Mama's not on here.
cool, we're good.
Don't hurt Mama's feelings.
But my mom moved away from me, so
Ooh,
I mean, so well,
another layer of that onion.
well, no,
right
same
there.
thing. With my mom, her mother still lives here in town. Most of her siblings, except for one, live here in town. Her grandkids
Yeah.
live here in town, and yet she's like, I'm out. I'm going to North Carolina. Peace out. And but she loves living down there, even though she's by herself with her dog.
Yeah.
She loves it down there.
Mama Hale, I'll be down in North Carolina Turkey Day, so I'll be down in that area.
Nice.
Come say hi if Nate won't.
Get a feed going on the. community page.
Where at North Carolina are you going?
We're coming down through and we'll be in the Linville area. And then we'll go down to South Carolina, spend the rest of the time down there.
Because she's all the way in Western North Carolina.
That's where I'll be.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll
I
come
expect
say hi, Mama Hale.
pictures or a live feed.
What's that?
I expect pictures or a live feed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good trip. 5 days down there. Yeah.
All right, what's the next what if here? And also Sean Anderson says, I think the bottle's empty now, but we might have to ask Nate Hale to make sure measurements and all.
God, get off of it, Sean. Jeez. What if you were told you had 1 month to live? How would you spend that time differently?
Oh, dang.
Oof. Who's that from?
Jody.
Jody. That's an interesting concept. That whole like "Live Like I Was Dying" song, by Tim McGraw.
Mm.
I'd go skydiving. I think so. That would be one of those things like you'd become a helicopter pilot.
I don't know if I could pull that off in a month.
No, you might. You might just.
I could be
steal-
a helicopter pilot once.
steal it. Yeah, 'cause
I'll get it in the air.
might steal a helicopter with the keys in it. And they would be hanging out at airports. How about you, Nate? How would you?
I'd probably do a lot of stuff with my wife, honestly. Try and do as much as we could without draining the bank accounts. That way she still has money to live after I'm gone.
She's gonna have $1 million. We already talked about it.
Yeah, she's good.
She's fine and quiet right now.
First thing I would do is up that insurance policy.
There you go.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that I've ever thought about, like I don't have a bucket list.
Not at all.
No, I don't sit there and go, oh, I want to travel here. I want to do this. I want to do this. I just don't think like that. But I'd sit there and be like, hey, you want to go on a vacation? Let's just go somewhere. If there was, something I really want to do, just go, as long as we had the money, go do it.
Yeah, so very honest answer where I'm at in life right now. What if I knew I had 1 month to live? How would I do it? I would cash out my retirement, sell the house, and I wouldn't say just travel, but I would just do stuff.
Live out of your Cadillac.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, maybe get a bigger Cadillac.
With Tony in the back seat.
Yeah, probably. Maybe get one of those old CTS, wagons that don't make anymore, have a little extra room, No, I just think, it's all it's circumstantial, right? Yeah, you could just rack up a credit card, but probably get out of that with bankruptcy. But I don't want to pass anything on to my next of kin, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to pass any debt or anything like that. So what I did have, it's like, yeah, I've got a retirement fund, you know what I mean? IRA. So I clearly don't need that when I'm going to be 65 or 75 or whatever it's going to be by the time I get to that point. So I'd probably take that, money and do something with it. I don't know. Like you, a little bit of bucket list. There's a little bit of there's a lot of issues that come up in a lot of this, is that there's a lot of factors on why you don't move to other places. There's a lot of factors on why you don't just get up and leave. And some people have the personalities or the mindset they do, and that's fine. But if you have some good things going on, like it's always the pros outweigh the cons. Hopefully, if the cons start outweighing the pros, then yeah, make a move. But I think everyone's a little different. Everyone's got their own safety net, whether they're going to admit it or not. But if you had 30 days to live, you're going to go through an emotional roller coaster. And I don't care what anyone says. If they say that they are, ballsy enough to be like, yeah, I do this, this, and this. And it's like, what about the shit you're going to go through mentally when you wake up in the morning? That's going to basically put the
last day or second to last day.
You got your brakes on a little bit, regardless. You got some pull on you. So yeah, the easy ones is if you have retirement, obviously you either have plans for it. If it's big enough, you want to say, who do I want to leave this to? If you have no one to leave it to, then you're going to cash it out and you're going to enjoy yourself to a point. And that's again, overthinking it. There's things, 30 days to live and you have perfect health until, ground zero happens. Typically that's not the way it works. You're going to be slowing down. You got some health issues, whatever it might be. Right. So I think that if you have 30 days to live, I think you should try to, I don't know, reach out to the people you want to reach out to, say your goodbyes, do all that stuff first, and then do the fun stuff and include some of those people if you can. You know what I mean? Take in those sunsets, take in that time with people, do all that stuff, smoke cigars, drink some whiskey, get hammered drunk, maybe not all 30 days, but maybe on last day, just call it. You're not going to have a hangover if you know. I was going to say that.
Oh, that'd be the worst if you woke up and had a hangover and that was your last day.
The doctor lied. Take an Uber to the doctor's office.
For me, if I had 30 days, I love to travel and explore the United States. So I'd work my way across the United States, work my way all the way to the West Coast. And if you could plan it out, Be sitting on the beach with the sun coming up and the lights going out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You'd spend all your savings just in gas with that car you have.
That's the absolute truth.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Nate, you said he brought another bottle?
I did.
Crack her open.
Coming up.
Oh, there's so many beautiful places in the United States that I couldn't pass it up.
Ray says, what if you looked back at the end of your life and realized you hadn't done shit? Well,
It's too late at that point.
yeah. What if you did? You're going to die. Oh,
What the?
very old Barton.
Which we featured on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said it there. Jonathan and Jody both asked kind of the same one. What if you had unlimited funds and support to live your best life? What does that look like? Jonathan asked, what if you didn't have to worry about money ever again? What would your everyday look like?
I mean, is that
I already told you my
Man.
answer.
is that you having like your stupid fuck you rich? Like fuck you money? Or is this like
Some Joe Rogan money?
or I'd have a podcast. Wait a second. Son of a bitch, I'm doing it wrong. God damn it.
I know I'd also, if I had fuck you money, I know I'd also be doing, a lot of community service type work,
No, you can do that now.
but on a larger scale.
Okay.
Like Toys for Tots. Just go buy Toys R Us is gone now, but when they existed, just go buy all of everything in a Toys R Us and be like, here you go. Here's
Jonathan Harris says, fuck you money. All right. So what if you had fuck you money? What does your day-to-day look like?
sitting on my ranch, enjoying cigars and whiskey and admiring the countryside.
I'm more of a Bruce Wayne, I think, kind of fuck you money. You know what I mean? Just like a lot of like just whatever.
You're gonna become Batman.
Maybe. Why wouldn't you if you could like afford all that shit, right? You know what I mean?
His superpower is just being rich.
Am I still dying in 30 days? Are we combining these
No,
things?
no.
Okay,
We're not combining.
No, I mean, I'd have like like be basically living in a resort and have nice things.
Here
and-
comes Steve in his Cadillac and Batman outfit.
Yeah.
He would dress up
That
as Batman
Cadillac is
every
gonna be
day
like-
because
It's gonna be like
why not?
the president's Cadillac's bulletproof, clearly.
The Beast.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Ray says you do
I
have the
have-
Batman voice.
I do have a Batman voice. The Batman voice has to change. I don't really change a whole lot.
Would you go higher?
He has
Not
to.
as Batman.
He would.
I would alter that like everyday voice would be higher. I'd have to work on that.
Hey guys, I'm here to save you.
His bat.
No, that's not Bruce Wayne voice.
His Batman.
Hey,
His
it could be because you're rich as fuck, so it doesn't matter.
his Batman voice suddenly sounds like Harley Quinn.
Oh my god,
Oh,
dude.
We could do that on a podcast. I'd do that. Get that recorded.
Oh gosh.
No, if I had fuck you money, I'd be extremely happy, a little less stress. You know what I mean? And maybe be a vigilante at times.
Would you still do
Not
it?
like I wouldn't be a Batman. Like I'd feel like I was. I think Bruce Wayne had some issues, right? So if we're gonna get into that, I think he had some issues.
Yeah.
So I would be Bruce Wayne with less issues, maybe, or those issues, different issues. You know what I mean? Everyone's got issues.
Well, let me ask you 2 follow-ups.
Oh Jesus!
Would you-
Two? Was this prepared?
No.
He's been waiting for this
I
one.
know.
Would you-
If you refer to your notebook, I'm gonna be very upset. No.
Would you still do something in the cigar industry?
Sure.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Like, would
Fuck
you?
you, man.
Would you start up your own cigar shop somewhere and hire?
Fuck you money.
and-
I have my own farm.
There you go.
Because that would be honestly fuck you money would be one of those things like I would basically would love to supply jobs and support one of these areas that opportunity is there because I have the money. You know what I mean? I can't really I could, but if I could just go down and buy something in like Nicaragua and just buy factories and employ people, and that'd be great.
All right.
It would be like be the farmer. What's the second question? You had two. You had two.
I know,
parts.
and I lost the second one.
Check your notebook.
It's
Jesus
not in the
Christ.
notebook. It might come back to me.
Do we have another what if here?
Oh,
Right.
shit.
We got some time here.
Well, Andemic, if you could only have bourbon or cigars. Oh, the other one was, would you still do a podcast? If you had Bruce Wayne fuck you type money, would you still do a podcast?
I'd have a more open schedule. Absolutely, I would.
Okay.
I'd probably have a live feed just going whenever. It'd be like,
Who cares if
it'd be like
anyone-
Ed TV? You know what I mean? Like I'd just be
The Truman Show.
I'd have a
was-
crew following me at all times. Why not?
So bourbon and cigars. If you had to pick one.
What if you had to choose between bourbon and cigars? I'm not going to answer this first. Shannon, and to the group out there watching right now.
If I had to choose, I would choose the cigar.
Okay.
One, bourbon's great, liquor's great, but I would choose waking up every morning without the oh my god situation. Like, did I drink too much? Bullshit. The cigar, you can just enjoy them throughout the day, go on and have a productive day. So my day would stay productive instead of. I never drink to get effed up, except for tonight. But
You didn't do it to get effed up. Sometimes you drink and get effed up.
yes,
That's a
the
grammar
liquor
thing here, all right?
the liquor creeps up on you no matter what. Cigars you can enjoy, hang out, have them. You could smoke 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 a day and still have a productive day. So I would go with the cigar.
I'm putting some comments up on if you're watching on the live feed here or you're watching the video later. We've had one vote, Jody Jacks, bourbon for sure. We have Cindy, cigars.
I'd pick cigars.
Pandemic says Jody Jacks, same. So she's bourbon.
Bourbon.
Clear. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I would pick cigars because then I can drink Irish whiskey and scotch.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
I didn't know
It didn't say cigars or alcohol.
It didn't. It's paying attention right there.
Damn, son. All right.
I'd pick, I'd pick cigars for the same reason. I'd be heartbroken.
Be
that I
the
couldn't-
Scotch and BS podcast.
Yeah, just be more BS at that point. Yeah, because cigars, yeah, I mean I think that's a broader thing, right? This is bourbon is very enjoyable. Obviously, we have a passion for that, but I mean, it's again, you can go other whiskeys, so you take away that actual bourbon technicalities of it, and yeah, it'd suck. What if?
If you had to give up cigars, I mean, would you still work in the cigar shop?
It's better than jobs I've had. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
Grant, I've been to cigar shops where the people that worked at cigar shops didn't even smoke. So you could, you
I
still,
was in the moving industry and I was not moving furniture a whole lot the last 10 years I was there.
Jess said that if you had fuck you money, you'd start a OnlyFans page.
Oh fuck.
If I had fucking money, I would not start an OnlyFans. if I had no money, I would start. I'm on the borderline right now. I don't know what I would ask for.
The account's been made, just not activated.
That was in private that we talked about that, Shannon. Jesus Christ. Live feed OnlyFans. All right, get it going. All right, it's a weekend project here. No one would subscribe.
Jonathan Herring, what if you could have one night of drinking and cigars with a historical figure back to life
shit.
for a night?
So clearly, they have to be dead, not a current person that you want to have a cigar with.
Yes, someone historical that has passed that you're bringing back.
Can I have a group of people?
Oh wait, cannot. I'm gonna add a caveat to this.
You can't do that. Someone else's what if.
Well, it does say historical figure, so no relatives.
Okay, yeah.
That's fair.
So
Because I asked that in a game once at a party. I was like, if you could bring back anyone,
What party? Were you playing a game?
it was
like a trivia.
it was, well, we were all drinking, but I forget
Clearly.
exactly what the game was, but I was like, if you could bring back anyone from the dead, and everyone's like, nope, I'm out and done. And that and ended the party right there. So I know better than to ever ask that question again.
So can it have to be one person or can it be a group?
It says historical figure, singular.
You can answer it however you want. There's no rules on the podcast.
When I think about that, and you know what we do here with the cigars and the liquor and drinking, hanging out, just
Yeah,
swapping
relatives,
crazy
yeah.
stories, I'd want to kick it with the Rat Pack.
Huh.
Like
All
Dean
right,
Martin,
narrow it down. Which one?
Dean Martin, Sammy.
Which one? You had to pick
We
one.
know Steve's answer.
Jonathan Heron says one person.
I'll go with Sammy.
Why?
Funny dude, crazy story, crazy life, where he came from, how he got there, the time at which he was immensely famous and popular, you know, in the 60, 50, 60 set, whatever.
50s, 60s, yeah.
That dude would be a riot just to sit down and talk life with and hear his story, how he came from nothing to where he became this
Yeah.
immense figure in life.
Yeah.
I think that would be an incredible evening.
Absolutely, it would be. Nate, how about you?
Oh, George Washington.
And why?
So
His fake teeth and everything.
So
I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of going on back then. I couldn't really fill cavities.
well, I mean, because it'd be it'd be an interesting conversation to have, because here's someone who grew up in UK, came to the US as a young country, and then went to war as a general to lead it, becoming its own country, and then lead it from a political standpoint as well. Like all the things that he had going on his plate and going through his mind, and
He was busy. He was busy.
yeah. And, just, the type of leadership to, all of a sudden be thrown into that position as the leader of a country fighting for its independence, and then also lead the country after that.
Yeah.
Like the kind of mindset you'd have to take on that type of responsibility.
Yeah.
And it'd be much different, obviously, the way the country looked in 1776 with the population versus 2021
Yeah.
with the population. I mean, could you imagine all of a sudden you're thrown into a position where Steve Crane, you are leading the country?
Don't do that.
You're the man. You are the supreme leader of the U.S.
Ooh, supreme leader is also a bad term. You don't want to do that either. No.
You are the dictator.
No, that's not what we. No. Jody Jack says, "Oh, Blue Eyes for sure." I'd love to have a drink and a smoke with Frank Sinatra. Absolutely. I don't know. I'm gonna go with like a classic one, honestly, and maybe not for the reasons that a lot of people think, but growing up that way. But I mean, I'd love to have a drink and a smoke. Whiskey. Let's say this. I know bourbon wasn't really a thing back then, but like some sort of a wine was obviously his go-to drink based on stories. But Jesus.
Okay.
And because of my cynical self at this point in my life, I'd just be like, seriously? like look at him and be like, but really?
Bro.
No. Like just to see if I could look in his eyes and be like,
Well, your cup would never be empty.
there's a lot of benefits there, right? There's a lot of benefits there.
Oh.
If I could have a drink, and like I said, it'd probably be wine as I pour another whiskey. But if I knew what I knew now, I'd be like, can I get a bourbon? And knowing what he knows based on what some people agree with, I think that we're gonna lose some listeners in this one. But there's this place, in the future, Kentucky. It's like, I know what you're saying, but it doesn't exist right now. I know, but and I know, right? If you didn't, I'm just gonna try to shoot some holes in it. I just want to have that faith, reinstilled over a couple of glasses of whatever.
Couple pours, baby.
A couple pours, just hang out with the boys and have a smoke.
Hang with Jesus and the 12 disciples.
I think that'd be really cool.
Hey, Judas, you're out. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Judas.
Steve's taking your place.
Judas, dick move, man. Dick move. Can we joke about that?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, we can. It's not too soon. It's been 2,000 years. Get
It's
over
been
it.
2000.
I thought said Jesus Christ. Son of a bitch. Next question.
What else you got?
Well, I think we've already touched on something similar to that. Well, yeah. What if you could redo one major decision in your life?
Ooh.
Oh shit.
That's a good one.
You can thank Andemic for that.
And thanks for listening. Jonathan Aaron,
And we're
hashtag-
signing off now.
No, Jonathan
Closing
said
remarks.
based on mine was hashtag canceled. No one cancels things off of religion anymore. It's cool. It's a safe space, apparently. All right.
Who wants to go first? Me? All right.
I don't even have an answer yet. I've been thinking about it.
Rephrase the question.
I know. I have a pinpoint. I always think about this. So if I could go back to high school and I was a major baseball player growing up, loved it. I was scouted by a lot of people, like little leagues, travel leagues, all kinds of good stuff. And with all my family problems, all the bullshit in my head, I walked away from baseball in high school. And I think that was a major, major blunder.
Why? Like, what would be the end goal here? You think you're gonna go pro?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I knew everything in my heart I would go pro. And it sounds like a load of crap, but I knew how good I was. I know from the people that scouted me, the people I had coaching me, I had all the goods. And because I was so fucked up in my head with life and all that kind of shit, and I remember I walked in one day and I just told all the coaches to fuck off and I'm done, and I never looked back. And that's been a big contention in my life.
Okay. So say the question one more time. What if you
could redo one major decision in your life?
Ooh.
A little screw top.
Yeah, not bad for a $12 bottle.
No. Nate, how about you?
So, I mean, it's kind of like when Ann was on and asked us that question.
Come on.
So,
We are.
so if
What episode was that?
it's been a while,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna add an asterisk to that. Assuming whatever path I chose, I still ended up with Jess.
Oh my God.
I would.
The feed just went out.
Just say you're not interested, all right? Would you just say you're not interested anymore? Like it's
She's over there losing her shit right now.
She's about as red as this ashtray.
Give her the keys. She's leaving.
She has her own key.
Oh,
We'll see. Great seeing you.
Who's
All right.
taking me home?
Yeah, to the couch. Love seat.
All right.
whatever. Floor. Good for your back.
oh my god!
All right, go ahead with that disclaimer. Yes, we
ins-
all know that you love your wife.
Instead of
It's annoying.
you're just jealous.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
No, instead of going to the college that I went to and going into that career path, I think I would have followed with what my childhood all the way up through sophomore year of high school passion was, and gone into the armed forces and become a pilot.
Helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
All right. I don't like to think like this, honestly.
It sucks.
It does suck.
Well, I can't think of one major life decision that I could do differently. The only thing I could really, looking back on stuff is not overthinking it and not, like sticking around because a paycheck or because of comfort. You know what I mean? Those are my types of, what ifs with that kind of a thing. The major decisions is sometimes they were stunted by that, with like career moves, for example. I stayed in my last career longer and I knew things weren't going the way I wanted them to go, but I was promoted and more money and all that stuff. And because it wasn't a natural fit, it didn't last. Right. I mean, that was just, that's my whole thing is, so like, what if I could, with a major life decision, it was just like, follow your gut more, like be more active looking for what I was interested in. Because as much as I enjoyed my previous career and in my previous job, it was a lot of benefits, but everything else going around it was suffering because of it. So, I mean, that's all I can really say on that, is that I would have listened to my gut more on that. So it's very tough to look at that, because I don't have a major life decision that I could make a different move for a better path, in my opinion, because I made some decisions. Like in college, I changed majors because I wasn't happy with that path I was on. Maybe I would have picked something different or had something else, but it was all spur of the moment, because I was more of a spur of the moment type of a person, where it was like, this made more sense. This is enough sense for me to make a move. As I got older and more things were involved in the factors of it, money and security and all that stuff, that actually hindered me. So that was one of the things I don't know, to answer that. It's tough for me to answer. I still struggle with it on a daily basis, because I don't think of things as a major life decision that would put a fork in the road, that I would have this alternate universe. There are the little things that are more important, that I try to take those lessons of the what ifs and go forward with that.
Okay.
What else?
Um,
And Dimick says, moved to New York and pursued a Broadway career.
Oh, damn. That's pretty
We're
legit.
going to have her do a little song and dance the next time she's on. Prove it.
Oh, all right. Sean just posted one. What if you could see the future of the thing you want most and it doesn't end well over time? Are you big enough to let it go? Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let it go before it happens, or let it go in the moment?
As in, so let's say with you, like, the one thing you want in your future is to have your own barbershop.
Yep.
But you could see that in the future, it's not going to end well. So right now you can make the choice to either still pursue that and do it for however long you were going to, or do you not pursue it and do something else? Either still be a barber and work for other people, or change a career path, either one. Would you still pursue what you want if you know it's not going to turn out well or end well at the end?
Man, gut feeling, I think I would shoot my shot and go for it.
But it's not going to end well. You already saw the future. Yeah?
Yeah, but I guess when you look at it in my terms, I'm looking at it, yeah, I could stay where I'm at and to be the same old humbug. But if I shot my shot and it was good for a while and it crashed and burned, I could do an about face and go back to where I was. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sean. And there'll be a lesson in that failure for the next shot.
Well, and that actually speaks to a follow-up that Anna said, like, why would you pursue something if you know it's not going to end well? It's like, well, you still had that experience of actually doing it.
There could be a million good things in between that ending well. There could be a lot of things that happen in between it ending however it's going to end. So I would take the risk of enjoying that up until the point it goes south. Because there could be so many good things. I could bless other people along the way and their careers take off, and that and other. Mine might end, but I've blessed other people and maybe envisioning their dreams and doing whatever they need. I could help families along. There could be a million things that happen in the middle, even though I end.
So it not ending well is objective
Yes.
for you.
Yeah, it's objective. I guess I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the middle, the beginning, middle, before the end.
Other positives come out of
All the positives,
process. Yeah, I got you. I was going to say, if I know it's not going to end well, I'd try to choose a different path and try to take some of that like the goals and try to tweak it. Predicting the future. If you knew what's going to happen, you're like, oh, if I do it this way, it's not going to end well for me. I like that attitude, though, is that you're looking at it as that did I benefit more people and I take the sacrifice?
Yeah. I'm a people person. I love trying to help people get where they're going and, maybe change their A to B along the path.
Yeah.
If so be it, if I have to crash and burn, yeah, it would suck. I'm not going to lie. It's going to definitely suck, but I'm trying to look at it more of what I can impact on the journey. That's where I'm at.
Nate, you want to answer it? I got something from the community page here.
Well, I can. I mean,
Get some more of that.
I can look at this.
Number two's going off the rails here a little bit.
I can look at this, going back to when I did make a choice like that.
Yeah.
When I left my first career post college to go full time in the cigar industry.
So you knew, no.
I'm saying if someone would have told me like, hey, if you make this choice to go be a cigar rep,
Yeah.
it's not going to end well.
No. Is that how it was phrased?
I think I still would have done it because I was unhappy doing what I was doing at that time. So me leaving to try that venture, even though that venture didn't work out and doesn't work out, it still then got me out of that toxic place. It freed me from that to then go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the road since then has not necessarily been the easiest, it provided the freedom to leave and do something else.
It's fair. So going back to the community page thing, and we have more what ifs coming in, which I love. Don't stop with that because we got a little bit more time here. We had one that I love. This one. This is like dialing in. Like this is really going back to the layers here. What if you stopped all the what ifs and moved forward, loving and accepting that where you are is exactly where you are supposed to be? Would you enjoy each day more? That's a big fuck you to the what ifs. Right?
Yeah. Who was that? Who asked that?
Bing!
That's Jody Jackson. Her
Jody.
many
that's
comments on it. And I appreciate. I posted it earlier today on the community page, and there was a lot of activity on this what if thing that you had presented me. We talked about it this morning.
Yeah. So I love that. The point when my life changed is kind of when I stopped the what ifs and started living in the moment, and my life has changed tremendously. So there was always going to be a little bit of the what if in there, but when you can kind of push that to the side and actually live in the moment, that's where I'm at right now in my life. And things have changed. The way I look at life, the way I treat people, the way I go about everyday things I do. I told myself early in my life I would never be married. It wasn't for me. Fail. I never wanted kids. I never had my own kids, but I said I would never date anybody with kids. My wife had a son. Fail. But when I let all
You're
that
doing well though. I'm 0 for 2.
Yeah. So once I stopped with all that bullshit and I met my wife, she had a son. He was 9 at the time. He's 20. He'll be 24 here next month. It's been incredible. It taught me so much in life just to let go and trust, because I wasn't a trusting person. And those what ifs and all that bullshit went to the side, and life has been incredible.
So you answer that question with yes. Would you enjoy each day more?
100%.
Yeah.
I think if you get rid of the what ifs, that opens the possibility for you to quit focusing so much attention and energy on what you would have changed, and just looking at what you have now and what you have the opportunity to do going forward. Instead of constantly living in the past and either regretting decisions or liking the decisions you made, it's like, all right, what do I want to do now?
Yeah, I mean, my what ifs, 'cause, you know, I didn't want kids, but now that I have a son, adopted son, well, not adopted, but a stepson,
Yeah.
it enhanced my life. I saw things I'd have probably never been able to experience, and it changed me for the better. And he's an awesome human being. He's a upstanding dude. I would have never experienced that if I would have just kept that at bay. So yeah, that's when you let shit go, shit happens. Put that on a t-shirt.
That's a long. I need like a full like onesie on that. Going down both legs there. Jonathan says, "What if you could sacrifice your happiness for those you love to all be happy?" I feel like many make that choice every day. What if you could sacrifice your happiness for those you love to all be happy?
I did that for the first half of my life.
Okay.
So I kind of look at that question different. I did sacrifice my happiness for other people's happiness.
How'd it work out?
Not good.
Okay. Why?
Because I wasn't happy.
There you go.
So I'm looking at it a little different. I know. I mean, I understand.
So Jonathan said that Jody was in the garage last week, and you remember, like you're still here.
Yeah.
She commented about a lot of that where she had done the same, and she realized that you can't put.
From my circumstances of growing up, I was a people pleaser, and my happiness was always second, third, fourth, whatever you want to put it. When I finally came to realize that, fuck, I matter too.
There you go.
It's not that I put myself first, but I thought about myself, and I put myself equal.
Yeah, I think equal is a big part of that. You only have broad enough shoulders to carry other people's burdens and happiness, right? But
yeah,
if you put yourself first all the time, that could be toxic for yourself. You know what I mean? That's short lived.
Very, very toxic.
But if you just put other people's happiness and as he's saying in this question here, the what ifs, if you just sacrifice your happiness constantly, that is also a quicksand type of mentality that you will eventually not be able to be there for other people, because you will lose credibility not only with yourself, but you'll lose credibility with those people that you're trying to provide that stability. Because a lot of people will look at you, Shannon, or anyone else, that they'll look for you for the strength. And if you're constantly putting those, like initially, yeah, great. That's amazing, because you're doing well and you're able to put their happiness first. But if your happiness dwindles to a point of unhappiness or whatever you want to call that, but you're weak, you will not be able to provide strength for those other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Clearly.
You know, hanging out, doing all the stuff, I would always take care of other people or pay their bills or just stupid stuff. I would put other people's happiness first, and I just remember I'd always go home like, why in the fuck did I do that? Why? I'm so unhappy. I'm so on this and blah blah blah. And it was a pattern. No matter, I would be so unhappy, but I would still go out with my group of friends and make sure you were accommodated. You had something. Oh, you don't have any money? I got you dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And I didn't have two nickels to rub together. I would give you my last. If I had 50 cents, you get 25.
That's donating to charity or contributing to people until you are that charity.
And it
Right?
slowly transitioned into that.
It will. It will.
And, yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to a while back ago. We had that episode, Give or Take.
Mhm.
And, you know, there are so many people that just give, and then have nothing left for themselves. But if you actually sit there and take care of yourself first, it may not guarantee other people around you happiness, but they can then feed off of your happiness and take control of their own happiness instead of always depending on you for their happiness.
What other what ifs do we have? You guys have any what ifs, Sean?
I actually have a question for Sean. If I could go back,
Is it a
for-
what if? Because I have it on the screen. Topic. What if?
Yeah, what if? It's definitely a question for
I feel like you have
Sean,
to stay on point here a little bit.
and it goes back to the if you had 30 days to live or whatever it was.
You already went
Where-
after this.
But
Grab
no,
the microphone like you did the last time.
I always think back. We Sean's story was on here. You know, he's been through a lot of health scares, and your tumor, that was your big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were laying there, that what if had to be a motherfucker.
Yeah, right before the surgery, or when I
Right.
just found out, or
All of it, when you found out and the surgery.
Episode 96. It isn't over.
right.
Was the first time you were on. That was December. That was a year before you. It was not 2019.
Yeah, I was. Gosh, we're coming up on 2 years on that.
Yeah, that's right.
For me, just because I didn't know what I was up against, because all I knew when I was told that I had a brain tumor, no one really told me. I had to go a few weeks before I knew exactly what it could be. It could be cancerous. It could not be cancerous. And your mind definitely shifts to like the small, like any kind of minute issue you may have or worries you may have kind of go out the door. You definitely become focused in the present, and it's almost like literally taking it one day at a time, because you don't know. Like for me, I had 2 weeks to wait. Like I was diagnosed October 4th, and then the 20th or 22nd, I had the surgery. So for 2 weeks, I had to figure out, how a lot of it was processing. A lot of it was just getting through that each day, literally. And any kind of insignificant worries or things that I used to stress over, I stress over now, just in life in general, that went out the door. It was spending time with my family and my friends, and just making every day count, because you don't know. I didn't know. And the one thing I did do, and I probably mentioned it in the story, was I came to grips with, if I were going to die, I would be okay with it. I was okay. I had a pretty strong faith at the time. I kind of fell off the wagon there a little bit with the whole faith, and that obviously brought me back to it pretty quickly. But it was very just comforting to know that I had, God in my corner, and know that, if anything were to happen to me, I know where I'd be going. And I don't know if I told you this in the original podcast, but I remember I had a priest kind of pray over me the day before my surgery. And I don't want to get too religious on it, but he kept looking at me really strangely as he was kind of praying over before I went in. And he kind of gave me this funny look for the entire time he was talking to me. And then he went out to my parents, and he's like, I prayed over him, but I don't think it really matters. I think he's like, you can tell he's comfortable with whatever happens, and that God's with him, and he's okay with that. The hardest thing I had with that whole thing was just leaving my family behind if I were to pass. But it was I don't know, man. It was pretty I don't know. It's funny you asked me this question, Shannon, because I was talking to my wife the other day about this, and like how I don't really process trauma too much. I don't get deep with it, because like when I talked in the podcast, it's like, yeah, I got through it, no big deal. It was, yeah.
I called you out on it.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, you glanced over the you had to get that fluid taken out
Yeah,
of your
the
lungs.
leader around from his heart.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
And
Just
I
another
think
day.
a lot of that
You guys
is-
didn't do that on Tuesday?
In West Virginia.
Yeah.
but I think that a part of that's probably one of my I guess flaws or issues is that I have a sense of, like, I have a lot of denial in my life, and I think it just grew up that way, the way I was raised, just like, oh, you'll be okay, don't worry about it, you get through it. And it helps to a certain degree, but things like that, I never really sat down and really faced it. I was more of a, oh, we'll get through it. And I was comfortable, and I did face it at the time, and I was comfortable with it, but I probably could like look back and maybe dive more into that as to why.
So Do you think, Sean, that is a coping mechanism that you're actually dealt with, but not in a negative way? Coping mechanism is too negative these days. This is something that I feel like this is something that we can actually grow from. About that is that there are times that you can actually dwell and you can feel sorry for yourself and do all that stuff. Like maybe this is the old school mentality, right? That some of us were ingrained on before, like ingrained into. That you have that you glancing over it, not good. This is everyday life, because it's not everyday life for everyone. But if you just take those blows and you don't necessarily address them, you just like, this is just what happens and I'm gonna be fine. If I'm not fine, that's fine. It's that it's gonna be fine thing no matter what happens. It's not an active way of responding to it.
Correct. And
you can be active with knowing that this is the punch that was given to me. You know what I mean? I was hit with this. Now I can respond and grow from it and learn from it, even if it's out of my control.
Yeah. When I was going through it, I kind of was forced to, like, that was kind of a big hit when it first, everything dropped on me. And again, I was trying to process it. I was processing at the time. And I guess looking back, I did. And I was comfortable with whatever the outcome may be. I did feel comfortable in that. I wasn't just trying to blow it off. I really had a lot of time to think. I even wrote letters to my family. And I
remember you saying that.
Yeah, I wrote letters to Teresa. We were Teresa and my parent, and like I told her right before I went to surgery, there's an envelope in my dresser drawer that's got letters to you, my parents, and my brother. If something doesn't happen to me, you need to give that to everybody and make sure that they know. And I'm sat there. I remember, I think I have a letter somewhere, but I remember there were so many teardrops on the letters as I was writing them that it was, some of it was hard to even read because it was just pouring my heart out to them. And I did face that. And that was the hardest part. Again, for me, it was me worried about my parents leaving my family and my friends behind more than it was what was going to happen with me. Now, looking back, and I can go, yeah, you know, because I've kind of processed and dealt with it, and now I move forward and I've survived it and I'm cool. And, you know, there's that silver lining with how it all began, how it all happened. So I'm good with that. But today, though, like if you fast forward today, I have other things that I'm dealing with day in and day out that I so like just glance over and don't tackle it and don't. And my wife, being the counselor she is, calls me on it, and she knows, and she's like, that's something I think you would feel more in touch and in tuned or in touch with yourself if you were to like face those things instead of just blowing it off. Like when somebody close to me passes, I'm in denial for like a week. It's hard for me to even cry or anything because I just have this whole like put up a wall, and not that I'm not afraid to cry. It's just that I don't know how to process it. And it seemed like maybe back then I was a little bit easier doing it, but now it's just like
there's calluses there.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for sharing, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
That story is powerful.
Thanks, man.
That is very impactful. You guys have any more what ifs?
Well, I mean,
what are your what ifs? Go ahead.
No, I already read mine that I posted, but no, I
was saying on the fly, basically.
But no,
what we talked about.
Going off of what Sean just talked about, and then earlier the one if you only had 30 days, like you knew, it reminded me last year with my stepdad when my stepdad got diagnosed and like, no, this is terminal. If you don't do treatment, you're not going to make it to your birthday. And so he actually experienced that what if.
Yeah.
And he was dealt that card where he knew, at max how much time he had. So what did he do?
Yeah.
From the time he found out until the time he actually passed.
Yeah.
And he and my mom went on a vacation. They still had their anniversary dinner. The Christmas present that Jess and I had bought him, we actually emailed that company, told them what was going on.
Yeah.
And instead of waiting until December to fulfill that order, they fulfilled that order in February.
Nice.
So that way, and it just happened to show up at their house on their anniversary. Because then he's like, "Hey, I got this present in the mail. Is that from you guys?" And then I didn't know about it, and Jess told me about it. And I'm like, "Oh, damn, good job, honey."
Yeah, and we know.
But
why. I mean,
but I mean, but he had
don't be
kind
embarrassed. Like, no, all right, she's coming.
he
Actually, take a seat. You know, what I
but
mean?
no, he
Because we'll
had-
give him the mic out there. You sit here so he can compliment you.
but no, my stepdad kind of had that same peace and calm about him that Sean was talking about.
Mhm.
You know, Sean's was, Sean's situation, like he could come out of it, he could not come out of it. Didn't know. It could go either way.
Yeah.
My stepdad knew he wasn't going to come out of it. So he still, the 4 months that he had, like he still did whatever he could for himself, for his family, for my mother. Like he still did whatever it was that he could. And, I remember there was initially kind of like what Sean was talking about. Initially, when I found out about it, I kind of had that denial, like, no, he's going to pull through. He's going to last longer than what the doctors say. Not the case. And over time, that slowly started to hit me, the reality of the situation. There were no more what ifs. There was only a when. And finally, I actually said to him things that I thought about for years and told him, just how important he was to me and being a mentor, outside of being a stepfather, everything that he had meant to me. And my mom texted me a few minutes later after I had texted my stepdad that he went, picked out the suit he wanted to be buried in, laid it out, came back to the couch, sat down, and said, "I'm ready."
Wow.
And that fuck with my head. Still does right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Someone else
You
take
did-
the wheel.
You did the right thing, man.
I'm
So-
glad I said it when I did instead of waiting until it was too late.
All right, so here's my what if to you guys, leading into closing comments, maybe. What if you knew that the things you wanted to happen, when you wake up in the morning, you're by yourself, you're thinking about these things, the people around you, people that are important to you, that what if you knew that your actions that day and going forward could actually impact your life and the ones around you in a very positive sense?
Say that again.
So what if you could wake up tomorrow and you knew that your actions that you did that day, no matter what day it is, if you're working, it's your off day, whatever, the things that you did that day would impact your life in a positive way, and the important people around you in a very positive way? What would you do with that?
Well,
I would probably do as much as I could,
Okay.
because the more things I do, the more things it's positively impacting people. The more
Good.
people being
Great answer.
impacted.
Great answer. Shannon?
You can't say ditto.
Ditto.
What if you when you wake up tomorrow, the things that you do are going to make a positive impact on your life and the people around you? What are you going to do? Today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday. So tomorrow, when you wake up on Thursday, if you knew the things that you did in your life were going to make a very positive impact on your life and the people around you, what would you do?
I would go full force.
Okay.
I try to wake up in that mentality as it is now.
I love it.
I mean, my first half of my life was, I don't want to say Debbie Downer, because I wasn't a downer person, but I was always, I guess, a little bit calculated because I never wanted to get hurt and ruin my day. But I've always lived my life trying to impact other people's lives. So if I could wake up and double that, I'm all about it. Like I've said this before on the podcast. I'm all about people. I'm all about raising people's levels. I'm all about making somebody. And Sean can attest to this. we go. He was with me. We go through a drive-through, and the dude in the drive-through is having the worst fucking day of his life. And I'm like talking to this dude, amping him up, asking him how he's doing, like what's going on. And I always look for the small opportunities to make it big impacts.
Yeah.
And that's
I
how
remember this. Yeah.
that's how I mean, Sean can attest. That's how I try to live, and I don't care what station of life you're in or where you're at. I'm never going to look down on you. I'm always going to try to find positive or speak just a minute of life into you to brighten your day for that 30 seconds we have, and I try to do that. Oh shit! What's up, Sean?
All right, before Sean says anything,
No, okay. I just wanted to comment real quick on
absolutely.
what he said, and you asked that question. He already does that.
Okay.
That question you asked, and he does.
Not
it.
everyone does.
I know, but you asked him specifically.
Yes, the
And-
panel. Yeah.
Yeah, but when it comes to Shannon, just because like I've known him for so long and see how he interacts with people, that's a given. For him, for a weird question, for him would be, what if you wake up tomorrow and you don't do that? He'd be like, I can't.
Oh,
it's just
fuck.
in his nature. It's in his heart to be that way.
Mhm.
So that's all.
Thank you.
To that point, what if you wake up tomorrow and you realize that what if you need a day to yourself and you are tapped out? You're tired.
Oh fuck.
You can't give everything to everyone. And you do that, what we talked about, and you, Shannon, you did talk about it. Sean, you brought that up, is that Shannon is normally that kind of guy. But what if you need that personal day? Are you okay with that? Is it okay?
Yes.
So you turn your phone off, or you don't answer the text, you don't answer those things, you don't answer the social media things, you take a personal day. Is it okay that if you are in that what if situation that you are borderline quicksand of not good and trying to be yourself, who you envision yourself on a daily basis, the what if positive thing? Are you okay with taking a day for yourself?
Yes, because I've learned this over time.
How?
Because I've given so much of myself to people for so long, and I would never take those days.
Mhm.
Here over the last 6-7 years, I've learned to give myself that space, because I know if I go out and still try to pursue that happiness, it's almost a false happiness.
You're not yourself.
I'm not myself. So I've learned over time to be able to take those days of recharge and getting filled back up.
Right up here, Jody. Right there.
What's up?
You have to take it 100%. You have to recharge.
Yeah. Because what's the old adage? If you keep filling somebody else's cup, your cup is empty. And that happens. But I didn't know how to refill my own cup for the longest time. But now I know how to do that. I think that's my life. My life is balanced out. And I can recognize when I start getting moody and I start getting short and all those other little things. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's time to step back and chill at the house. And
It's not a lost day.
no, it's definitely not a lost
Gosh,
day.
no.
Some
That's
of the
how
most
a lot of people think about it. People that are on the go, trying to make other people happy, trying to like build up other people, they constantly are trying to. They can't be themselves if they're weak at that moment. When they wake up,
my
their gas
most
tank is empty.
yeah.
They don't accept it. So now they're doing everything half-heartedly.
It sounds weird, but my most productive day in my life is the day I take rest.
Love it.
Like 100%. It does sounds counterintuitive.
No,
No,
that's
but-
not it. Like it's the same thing with like we talk about this on the podcast about like physical fitness and all that stuff. And you were a big, power lifter back in the day. Now you're maintaining like I am, and a lot of the listeners are doing that. It's one of those things that the rest days are as important, if
Oh,
not
God.
more important, than when you're in that moment where you're pushing your body physically to that limit. Whether you're lifting, you're running, you're doing anything else, you have to recover.
Your body doesn't repair
it's so
itself.
simple because we look at this and every person out there has to sleep. This is a physiological thing where it's like it's you can't go 24/7. As soon as you start coveting or putting emphasis on the fact that I got less sleep than you and I'm more productive, that's short term. The most productive people know that you have to give yourself proper rest to recover. The recovery is not always on other people, right? It has to be on yourself.
I mean, think of it like, like the batteries, say in a toy remote control car or something like that. If you take the batteries out of that remote control car and put them in a, let's say they're the rechargeable type batteries, you take them out of the remote control car and you put them in the recharger. Well, when they're in the recharger, they're obviously not being used for that toy. That toy is not going anywhere. It can't do what it's doing. But the batteries are being recharged. So that way, when those batteries go back to fulfilling their role, they're doing it at a better level than what they were before.
Well, I'm ready to mow the lawn. If my batteries weren't charged on that fucking Rainworks Amazon mower I bought, and I'm ready to just take that mower out there. I can just roll it through through the front and back lawn. If I didn't recharge those batteries,
it's not going to cut the grass.
I'll push it through it, but it's not going to do shit.
Exactly.
It's got no energy.
I just cutting every 6 months.
No, I'm just like rolling it through high grass, like laying down certain levels, like with the wheels.
I just had a coworker from my former team reach out to me yesterday because they're finding themselves in a position that I used to be in when I was in that role, where they're so busy doing what they do that they're having a hard time taking days off for themselves.
Yeah.
And and that person's only been in this role for a year and a half at most. And I was in that role for 6 years. And I was like, look, I learned this the hard way. Like, I spent too much time not taking care of myself and putting everything I had into my work that outside of work, I was not the type of person I need to be. So I had to eventually get to a point in my career with that team and those responsibilities where I had to look at my work and look at the rest of my team and literally say to myself, fuck it. I got to take time for myself. You guys got to deal with this shit because you guys are sitting there complaining that, I might be rude, abrasive. I might snap at people. Well, why am I doing that? Because I'm stretched too thin. I cannot do what I'm doing at the level I'm doing it and still be in a right mindset. So I need to take time to get myself right before I can be a better person in the other areas of my life.
It's good stuff.
I mean, and so literally I told her, I was like, the person that helps you with this sales rep, they should be able to take care of that sales rep by themselves. They've been at this job for long enough that if they can't do the work, they shouldn't be on the team at this point. And then when it comes to the other workload, other people, whether it be a combination of people or someone else has to take that workload.
Absolutely.
Because the company can't sit there and say, oh no, because of your workload, you're not allowed to have a day off. Like this person's had 4 days off this entire year and none of them have been sequential.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I did that too. You can't. I learned that the hard way after years of doing it.
Yeah.
You've only been here for less than 2 years. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do what I did. Learn from my mistakes. Take care of yourself now so that way you don't burn out.
All right. We're at that point. Closing remarks. I also have to pee.
The big horn gotcha.
Big horn. I still don't All right. So, and Tony's going crazy in there.
Bananas.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to go inside. I'm going to pee. I'm going to bring out Tony.
All right.
Do you guys have another what if, or you want to do closing remarks?
I think Shannon and I can probably do closing remarks by the time you get out.
Yeah. It's number one, man.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what's the how you want to close this out? What's the big closing
you came
question?
up with the what if. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
why? Why the what if? And
Well, thanks for coming out, guys. I got to go.
And I guess also like, well, no, you came up with it. All the different what if situations that we talked about. I mean, what was your motivation for coming up with a what if type of topic? Because there's so many places this could go. There's so many places it did go.
That's why I love the question, because it's everywhere. It's everything and anything. My motivation was the beginning of my life and the situation, and not taking chances, and the what ifs that came with not taking chances in my life and where I could be. But like, I don't know who said it earlier, but, you know, you end up where you end up, I guess. The what ifs are, I don't want to say it's a life thing, but taking chances. I've learned to take chances now, and we learn from our what ifs. You know, that's the big thing. I think if you go through life, you don't learn from those mistakes and learn from the what ifs. Choice A, choice B, choice C. It took me a long time to figure that out. Some people figured out super early. Some people, I think I saw Ray say early, he didn't have any what ifs. That's super dope, man. That's, you know, you figure shit out. But for me, I had a lot of what ifs. And I always think back, not so much now, but I always thought back, things could be so different, but would they be any better? That's the big thing. Doesn't mean it's going to be better where I'm at now if I would have chose A over B. So I am where I am from the choices I made throughout my life. When I look back now, I don't think I would change anything, because there's so many lessons and there's so many growth moments and periods in my life where I shut things out, and now I'm able to let things in. I'm at a point here in my life now that I can truly take a risk and be comfortable with it, where before I would never take a risk, because I always chose comfortable over uncomfortable, and I don't think that's the way to do it, because in the uncomfortable is where growth happens. So I'm embracing that now where I'm at in my life, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Before I would just before it was an easy read, now it's a what if read, and wherever it's going to go, it's going to go. But I'm okay with that now, and I'm so excited for the next chapter of my life with me and my wife. She's been by my side 100%, and she's been a big part of where I'm going now. She's challenged me, she's pushed me. She's never pushed me over the edge, but she'll push me to the edge and say, "Hey, you know, what do you want to do?" And I appreciate that. I love that. And
she'll reel you back in.
Yeah, she won't let me fall off the edge, but she'll let me look over the edge. So, and yeah. So, I don't know. Life is amazing. Life is crazy. Life is beautiful. Life is challenging. Life is crying. Life is happy. Life is everything. And I was so scared of it for the longest time.
Do you think you would have fewer what ifs in your mind if you took more chances back then?
I don't know if I can answer that honestly. There's situations I think about that I could have changed, or not changed, but chose a different path. But it might have led me down a one-way street, you know. And I look at we have Michaela in the crowd here that she took a chance and left her home in California to start all over.
And moved to Ohio.
moved to freaking Ohio, and she's thriving. She's having a time of her life. You know what I mean? And she's learning. You're growing. You're learning, and all this stuff. We would have stayed home. Who knows? Who knows? Right? What if? Right? So I truly embrace what's happening. I used to be scared of the what if. Now I'm embracing the what if. I guess that's the best way I can put it is
Scared the what if, like if it, like you were getting ready to choose to make a decision. What if it doesn't work out going forward? Or,
yeah, this
okay.
situation presented to me right now. If you would have brought this to me a year ago, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm not ready. I would have gave you every fucking excuse under the sun, say I'm not ready. But if I want to move forward with my life and me and my wife and what we see ourselves doing in the future, and we got literally 2 Fridays ago, we sat in our house and whiteboarded our life out.
Wow.
Like the
Dream
what
board.
ifs, the dream boards, this, what we need to do, where we got to go, blah, blah, blah. And that was exciting. It was terrifying because I don't do that.
Yeah.
She's all about that, like that kind of stuff. To me, that's terrifying because it puts it in front of you, puts it in your face, you know. But I'm ready for once in my life. I'm ready to take a risk that I don't know what's going to happen.
Act instead of react.
Yes. And like that question, if you know it's going to fail at the end, what would you do? Would you still choose it? I honestly would still choose it because I've always been scared of the what if. I don't know if it's going to fail or bomb, but fuck, if I can dive into it and enjoy the journey till the end and impact, help, motivate, whatever it is, the other people around me as I go through that journey, I'm all in. I'm all in for it. And if it burns at the end, so be it. But I took that chance. I made the sacrifice. I'm going for it.
Awesome. So for me, when the what if topic, when Steve posted it on the community page, initially my mindset went to what if you could do this? And it was everything I was thinking was going forward. And it wasn't until I read some other people's comments, primarily Sean Anderson, that there's a lot of people that when they hear what if, they think of the past. And sometimes that it I don't know if haunt is the right word, but there are some people that the past what ifs do haunt them. And you know, with what Sean Anderson has gone through, I understand his hesitance towards a topic like this because he's definitely gone through some shit and seen some shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great episode. I'll look that one up too.
Sean Anderson, and thank you for listening and all your comments, Sean.
And being a supporter.
Yes.
He bought a charity shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Anderson, most of us in this garage, I would say, we've never had a what if situation in our past that meant someone's life was
Episode 176.
Yeah. None of us have had a what if moment where someone else's life was on the line. Sean's been through that a multitude of times.
Right.
So, but that's because of his experiences, this what if idea and mentality. Some people have a hard time dealing with that because there's too much in their past to think about the what ifs going forward. And he had posted something that he's got coming up, and he actually posed it as a should he or shouldn't he, what if he does, what if he doesn't, type of thing. And I had commented, I was like, do it, find out.
Yeah.
One way or the other, you either way, what's going to go on, because once you have that knowledge going forward, now you can start making choices today.
There is no what if at that point.
True.
right?
Like if you know if you know something is going to happen, kind of like that one what if where the 30 days.
Yeah.
Like if you knew 30 days is all you had, what are you going to do? Most of us, I would say, are going to make the best of those 30 days. We're not going to sit there and go, oh, well, what if I'd have done this? What if I'd have done that? Would I not be in the situation I'm in now? We sit there and we look at it like, okay, this is the cards I'm dealt. How do I handle it?
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of mentality we have to have on a more frequent basis is what if going forward instead of what if in the past, what if going forward? What if I could do this? What if I could do that? What if I had the means, the opportunity to do something else? Would I take that?
Yeah.
And I think, to his, whether knowing it's going to work out or not going forward, like Shannon's like, yeah, even if it doesn't work out, I'm still going to take that chance. I'm still going to roll that dice just because of, what can happen between now and then, the things I can learn, the people I can impact going forward. And so even when you're dealt a bad hand, you can still make the best out of that hand. And that's the kind of what if mentality I think we should have is take the what if going forward, because you can't do anything about the past. That's already happened. You can't go back and change it.
I love how you changed that from the past, the what if to the past to the what if in the present, because that changes a lot.
No, it's frame of reference, right?
Quit spending so much time thinking about the what ifs of the past, because typically when we look at the what ifs of the past, it's always negative. And so that always brings us down.
It's regret.
Yeah, we regret making this choice or regret not making that choice. Look at it going forward. Well, what if I make this choice? Here's the opportunities that could provide. Even if it doesn't work out, like, what could I learn from it, as you said, Shannon? Or, what might be the positives that come out of it?
Yeah. No, I asked the question before we got into this was that?
Oh, he's in Tennessee.
Shannon had asked if Sean was in North Carolina. He's in Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah. I mean, but I asked the question. It was interesting to have you the very honest, open responses from it. Is what if you knew that when you woke up in the morning tomorrow that you could have a positive impact on your life and those around you? That was very baited, because you do. Literally, tonight's Wednesday. Depending on where you're at, Ray was listening earlier. I don't know if he's still listening. It's Thursday already in Vietnam. You know what I mean?
Good morning.
But I'm not saying that, that you have to have the mentality, because you always have to take care of yourself. We all go through our ups and downs. I get that. You walk into a situation and you don't want to be there, but you're still there, and it's how you react immediately to that, right? It's do you go through with it? Do you bail out? If you're calloused enough or cold-hearted enough at that point, if you're that injured, you will bail. But what if you knew that you'd be better off if you just went through with it and you could take care of other people, and you're going to be fine and they're going to be fine. You're going to actually think today was not that bad of a day. I look at this topic of the what ifs and I absolutely love the comments and questions of the what ifs that came through, and there's no right answer to this. This is the best part about it, is that these are those what ifs. These are open-ended questions, right? So this is all based on you. And I will say that this was really formed in the essence of the question of what if, that people were either in the mentality of the what ifs of the past. They haunt themselves with those. there's also the what ifs of what if I do this for the future? Will it be better for me? And Nate, you were one of those that was looking forward to the future. What I will say is that with you, Nate, you know, with the job thing, what if you would do this and you could do this and you make the same money? You made a great example. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Being a helicopter pilot, you still had what ifs that were holding you back.
Yeah.
Which is okay. That's the great thing about this, is that there's no right path. It's not like if you like deal with the what ifs in the past versus the what ifs of the future, there's no right way they're going to do this. The great part about it is that I love the what ifs of, and Dimmick said, you know, what if you had to choose between bourbon and whiskey? These are surface level things. And we are that complex of creatures that we're going to struggle with. What if you got to choose from bourbon or cigars? And we're all sitting here thinking like, if I had to choose, I don't know what I'd choose. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking about this. What's the biggest con? The other life issues that you're dealing with, I got to tell you, my closing remarks is that when you're dealing with what ifs, you weigh out all the important factors. It's never, sometimes it is, I will say that. But if you could do the same thing that you're doing now and make the same money and you can move, would you do it? Mm-hmm. Well, you're admitting your faults now. You're admitting the fact that you're living in Columbus, Ohio, for example, and doing those things and having a great life. But you think you could have a better life with a beach or with more acreage. What I have to tell you guys, money, acreage, all those things, you will still confront your demons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no getting
So
around
what
that.
is for the future, all the people I talk to, people that are in the dating like world, people that are in the career world, if I made more money, if it was more comfortable, if I could travel and do whatever I wanted to do, if I could do whatever I wanted to do, things would be so smooth.
Would they?
Would they? Like what you said, Nate? No. You still have financial problems. You still have relationship problems. You still have divorce. You still have career issues. You still have all that stuff. What if those things were pulled out underneath you?
Batman was the richest person in Gotham. Still can't get a
so
girl.
Bruce Wayne's good. I am still with the fact that if I had the fuck you money, I would absolutely be Bruce Wayne and do whatever I wanted to do. I wouldn't have the conviction all the time, like 7 days a week. I'm a vigilante. Maybe on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'd go out there.
Weekend warrior.
Weekends are fun. Tuesday and Wednesday. My point is that no matter what cards you are holding in your hand, the what ifs aren't going to combat the issues. There are a lot of rich people that get divorced. They have the granite countertops. They got the beach. They got this. They got that. They're still unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
Problems magnified.
Maybe they're magnified. You know, the job is your dream job until it's not. You have the wrong boss. The owner doesn't do what you want him to do. You start your own business, Shannon. Things are looking good. And then they're not. So I think the biggest question that we have, and we didn't really address it, but I'm going to leave everyone on this with my what ifs, my closing remarks is, what if everything you do based on what you have learned, what if it doesn't, what if it's not? All the shit that you do to prepare yourself for the better next step, what if it's not? You ready for that?
I'm glad that's your closing remark, not an open question.
GYF. GYF, buddy.
What's that mean?
No, you got to say it. You got to say it, Steve.
GFY. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Steve Crane for president. Go fuck yourself.
No, my point is that everything you do, everything that you've learned, everything that you've looked back, what if I did this differently? What if I do this differently going forward? And what if it doesn't work out? That's it. There's always something, the bigger universe, the bigger picture is always there.
Quit paralyzing yourself with the what ifs.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
What if it doesn't work out? If you live in that mentality, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And on being fucked, cheers to Whiskey Wednesday. We'll see you next week.
Bighorn, you lied about the 80%.
That's not 80. It's not. I'm going to say this. It's not.
AJ forgot to dilute this shit.
I want to talk to AJ. Guys, happy Whiskey Wednesday.
Happy
Thank you for
Whiskey.
being a part of this. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Share it, like it, review it. And also patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast. If you want to buy us a bottle, Venmo at Bourbon BS. And also Tinder Box at Easton, Altadis USA, and BS Cigar Company. You guys have been amazing. Big Horn.
Bighorn, baby. Montana, come on now.
And thank you, Scott, for contributing the bottle.